How's it going? It's man tomorrow here. I'm trying to switch over to my phone, so hold on a second.
All right, there we go. How's it going? It's man tomorrow here. Thank you for our like, sharing, comment, and subscribing to my channel. Could y'all hit a one in the chat if y'all can hear me audibly? Because for some reason I can't hear myself in these headphones here. All right, cool. All right. Um, I want to thank y'all for coming through. If y'all like the video of my coming in. All right. Now, this is something that I've heard far too long and really far too often in my life, man. Is that people want to take life seriously the moment they get backed into a corner. That's when you want to take life seriously. So what you have to recognize is that, dude, the time is ticking, bro. You always got something to lose and you always got something to gain, no matter how much you have, even if it's nothing. So what you have to understand is that there's a lot of people out here who's going to be really hurt in this upcoming economic downturn. But I'm just telling you right now is the time where you need to be thinking about your life and your future and where you're trying to go. Because I'm going to give you an example of a friend of mine who is on the market that you could possibly end up with by thinking you got game or thinking you got this shit figured out or thinking that you hit the lottery or jackpot. All right, this person, we met in basic training. Dude, this is like in the late 90s. We was both in the same class. We was both stationed at like the first three stations together. And I think this person got married every single installation that she went to, right? So she was in 23 years. She just got out. mm, yeah, this past summer. And let me tell you, these people are on the market and they're trying to get off the market. Now, this woman has kept herself in amazing shape. She looked just like the same way she did in the late 90s, even though she's been married, I think 4 or 5 times. Because every time I talk to her over the years, she's always calling me, and there's always her first name because her name is spelled a certain type of way with a different last name. So now, she retired. She's dating this guy, and they're about to get married. I haven't talked to her in a couple of years or something like that. So I get a text message from a guy asking me, "Who's this?" I'm like, "I'm pretty sure I know who phone this is, and I know who I'm texting. I guess the question is, who are you?" So this person introduced himself to me through her phone. I'm like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Well, I know her since basic training, since this time period right here in the late 90s." And she was like, "The late 90s? Well, that ain't possible because she told me that she was 35 years old." I'm like, "Oh, really?" So I'm like, so he's going through the story, telling me how he got all this stuff together. That he felt back against the wall. He kept doing all the stuff that he was supposed to be doing, and he immediately got picked up by a person that is at least 11 years older than him, trying to play like she's his age. He's 35. She's a couple years older than me, so she's at least about 45, 46. But this is what I'm saying, man. People are watching you when your back is against the wall. People are sitting here waiting to make you a mark within this society. People are waiting. They are waiting for you because they know how you've been neglected within this environment because of your inability to exercise choice the same way they did. Let's be honest about it. So it just goes to show you when your back is against the wall, you're not going to make good decisions to get the hell up off the wall. See, this is why you got to keep this down. One, make a plan. Two, research the plan. Three, execute the plan. Number four, do some updates on where you're at. Some assessments to where you are to see if you're on track. Because I can guarantee you, this individual who thought he was hitting a jackpot had no idea he was dealing with a woman 11 years older than he was. This is why you pick people at the particular place where you're at coming up. Because once you leave those environments, life is going to change. And you're going to get to be around a whole bunch of people who can see your inexperience a mile away. You think a woman that doesn't who's been married 4 or 5 times on each basic installation she been through, you think that she don't know a fucking mark when she see one? You think she don't know inexperience when she's dealing with it? This dude known her for a while. This dude was about to go ring shopping. Had no idea who he was dealing with. This is why I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to vet past somebody's post hoc rationalization. You're not. That's got that guy in that situation backed into a corner, thinking that he got to rush out and get married the moment he got his stuff together. Did not know the first person in line was a person who was well experienced with divorce. Went through 4 of them. How long you think that situation would have lasted? Y'all have to get to what I'm saying. People are out here trying to leverage your inexperience against your future productivity. That's just one situation. Yeah, she was pretty upset. Why'd you tell him all that? Why on earth would I not tell him all that? Now you trying to implicate me in your nonsense. First of all, you got to do going through your phone. I don't know this guy. It's not my job to keep your motherfucking secrets. It's my job to set the fucking record straight. Whenever and fucking however. I don't give a fuck how many friendships I gotta lose. But see, that's the problem. People think setting the record straight and trying to save somebody from pain is something that's special, magical. Shit should be fucking normal. Tell you about another guy. 2 weeks ago, he locked up, about to do 25 years in prison for a crime he committed about 7 or 8 years ago. You see, in this specific case right here, that's different from the first case, it shows you how your past can turn around and catch up with you. This person right here, pretty young, fell into a crowd that he wasn't supposed to be around. They end up going around robbing people and all this kind of dumbass shit. He got out of the situation. He moved halfway across the country. He got his life together. And 2 weeks ago, he get a knock at the door by the U.S. motherfucking Marshals, taking his ass all the way back to the place where he did that shit at. And see, this is what I tell you motherfuckers. There ain't no such thing as stop snitching when it comes to a group of individuals who will freely throw your ass under the bus so that way they can stay free. Or so that way they can get a lesser charge. Everybody take deals, partner. Everybody snitching this motherfucking thing. If that motherfucker been out there doing that shit for any more than a fucking year, the only way that motherfucker is staying free and that type of shit is that he's snitching on somebody. That's the way that shit has always been. Now he turned his fucking life around after that shit. But those people who he did the shit with, they didn't turn their life around after that shit. So these motherfuckers end up getting caught on some unrelated shit. And one of his so-called homeboys start running their fucking mouth about all kinds of fucking shit that they was doing over the fucking years. And this name guy ended up in the middle of the shit. And you know what happened? These no snitching niggas turned around and made a guy who was driving the getaway car look like he was the mastermind of the entire operation. That motherfucker about to get all them fucking years. No plea bargain. 6 corroborating fucking witnesses. There ain't no way in the motherfucking hell they about to give your ass a pre-bargain out of that shit. Why? Was backed into a corner. He didn't even get that much money out of this shit. But this motherfucker changed his life, turned this shit around. Next thing you know, he's sitting there fucking holding. Even though he got all the way the fuck away from that shit the moment he did, but the problem is, your ass is going up for the river for the shit that you did do during that time period. What is this showing you, folks? It's showing that when your back is against the wall, you don't make good ass fucking decisions. Trust me, you got something to lose and something to gain all the time, every day. Even when I was homeless, I could name you the shit that I had to me. Because I always knew I had other shit to fucking lose. Something as big as having a motherfucking wall charger. When your ass need for somebody to fucking call you about a fucking job can be major if your ass ain't got no income coming in, man. Bro, you always got some shit to lose. So you have to understand that you got to always be on the ball all the time. Your ass got to be on the fucking mission. The mission, so that way your ass is okay. And you ain't got to be worrying about another motherfucker for a place to stay or food to eat or any of that shit. I've seen people say all the time, man, I really wasn't doing shit, but after I got XYZ girl pregnant, you know what happened? I really got on the ball and I started doing my shit. I'm like, that's what it took? Bro, you can't be sitting here waiting to get your shit together. That should always be part of the fucking plan, man. Having your shit together and nothing to fucking worry about, that's what manhood is. Not setting yourself up so somebody else can come by and take that shit away from you. This is what I'm talking about. You have to say it to yourself all the time. I have shit to lose and I have shit to gain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit back and make this fucking plan, and I'm going to carry around these fucking goals in my motherfucking shirt pocket, and I'm going to make sure that I am where I need to be. And there's not a person nor circumstances that's going to alter my mission. That's what that's about. Let me give you a third guy. This guy served some time, 15 years in prison. Know what he did? Jumped into a circumstance that had nothing to do with him. Ended up beating up somebody, stomping on them and shit. Next thing you know, that guy had a seizure, he died. All over a person who he didn't know, that he was trying to protect, but he thought that he was invested in a situation that he wasn't even invested in. He thought his back was against the wall on the behalf of somebody that he didn't even know. Dude, if you took advantage of male choice, and if you harness the power of male choice throughout your life, your back is never against the wall. It becomes against the wall because you didn't make the right decisions. And all you have to do is admit to yourself that you're fucked up. But I'm going to turn this shit around. That's it. Because the moment that you admit fault and the moment that you want to change what you're at fault at, that's when the shit turns around. Again, people are always knowing what you got to lose except for you. You got to stop thinking that getting yourself in these self-esteem based situations that's going to boost your self-worth temporarily so that way you can feel good about yourself for doing something on the behalf of other people who don't deserve it is somehow going to make you feel better in life. It ain't. It's not. This is why manhood started at the means of productivity, not how quickly a woman can benefit off you. Because the means of what you produce is supposed to put you in a safer place where all these things that are not part of your responsibility outside of the doors of your house don't affect you. This is why you don't need to be coming out the corner swinging. You need to be swinging before your ass get in the corner. You ever seen that shit in boxing? When the dude getting backed up into a corner, then he gets in that corner and he starts swinging wild and getting knocked the fuck out. That's you. When you don't make the appropriate decisions to not get your ass in the corner in the first place. Don't let down your future self, man. You never know how far you're going to go if you're going to always take one step outside of reality and doing some shit that you ain't got no business in up fucking your whole shit up. Trust me. You don't want to put on every job application, you don't want to check that box. Check that fucking box. Explain the bullshit that you did in the past within 7 years. Do you really want to do that? Do you really want them to look at the check mark on the box and throw the fucking resume away? Do you want to look at the check mark on the box and throw your application away? Things out here gonna get highly competitive. But when you got to understand that when your ass is backed into a corner, you need to seek proper help and assistance. You don't turn your ass around and try to cut corners. Because that cutting corner shit don't work. It never works. Not for the long run. Now you might get a couple dollars here and there. But at the end of the day, this is where we are with this shit. You got to stop waiting till shit get to dire straits before you get up out of there. Let me give you another situation. There was these dudes, two guys, dropped out of school, 7th, 8th grade. Their mom was paying all the bills and all this shit, you know, dumb shit. And then their mother ended up fucking dying. They were stuck. They didn't know how to operate in the real world without mama doing everything for them. Pretty soon, 6 or 8 months, they end up losing a fucking house. A house that was paid off. What I'm saying is, don't wait till your ass is backed into a corner before your ass start getting on your shit and doing what the fuck you need to be doing out here. Because here's the thing, man. You don't get celebrated for doing the shit that you need to be doing out here. You're not going to get celebrated for that. You're not going to get rewarded for that. You're not going to get noticed for that. You want to know why? This shit is your fucking responsibility. That's why you don't get noticed for it. When your ass is graduating with an associate's degree or bachelor's degree, man, ain't none of them motherfuckers gonna be there. But the moment your ass start clocking them fucking dollars, all these people is gonna act like they always been there the entire time for you. When they are backed into a corner. Because there's two sides of this argument. The first side of the argument being backed into a corner is you being backed into a corner yourself. The second part of being backed into a corner is that you operating off the behest of other people being backed into a corner. But the thing is, you're supposed to be in your own corner. You're supposed to learn from these situations. So that way you don't end up in them. This is why you should read the newspaper. To see about how somebody messed up their entire life over something they could have easily said no to, easily not being part of, easily been somewhere else, doing something else. Now when you talk to this person, they all broken. They know it's all gone. And they know it's not coming back. And that's the problem here, folks. You have to realize that you gotta have this attitude now before things go wrong, man. You gotta have it today. Because there's a lot of things in society and life that you are never going to make it to if you don't harness the power of choice. You get a choice too. You get to make a decision too. To not be there, to not show up, to not be around, to be concentrated on oneself. You get to do all that. All this stuff is a choice. But if you don't harness the power of choice, then other people are handing it down to you and for you. And what they hand down to you and for you isn't something that you're going to be proud of or that you want. This is why you're supposed to be taking all this stuff seriously before you even get in this situation. You got to stop thinking that you're going to fight better. You're going to fight harder the moment stuff's at risk. Bro, listen, stuff's already at risk. All the time it's at risk. It's at risk all the time. You just cannot be waiting for your chances and choices to be taken away from you before you notice what you should have noticed in the first place. So that way you don't have to go through these type of things. You don't have to look at these people this type of way. People don't have to look down upon you with disdain based off of something that's within your past. You can give yourself the best opportunity right now. You don't understand with no responsibilities, and no drive and no futures, and where all this stuff kind of sets in, it kind of sets you up to walk into a whole bunch of nonsense. And I'm not even going to go into all the people who committed stupid ass crimes and still locked up today for shit that they did in the late 80s and early 90s. I'm not even going into that shit. Too many people, very smart people, being around other people who they thought were their goddamn friends. You have to understand that fighting properly and fighting poorly takes nearly the same amount of effort. One take a lack of preparation, and the other one takes some preparation. One is from a point of desperation, and the other one is from a point of training. You have to train yourself to not be in these circumstances to where people can take advantage of you. You got to practice not taking a shot. There's a hell of a lot of times in life where you're not going to take the shot. And a hell of a lot of times that you're going to regret the shot that you've taken. So this is what I'm saying, man. At the end of the day, you still need to harness choice. So that way you don't end up in that corner, coming out swinging, and end up ruining your life like these people did. This stuff is not going to get any harder as life go on, because as life go on, your home circumstances could change. A parent could die, a sibling could get sick, a kid could be had, and boom, you have to go out there and produce as if this was the plan the entire time. This is why you got to make sure that your stuff is straight out here, man. So that way, when it is your time, you could be a hell of a lot more prepared than just suffering the consequences for no reason. You got to be able to minimize the risk. You got to be able to maximize the level of what you can be able to produce. Because if you don't, you're going to end up in that damn corner. And you're going to come out of that corner hard charging, and your ass is going to hit the mat over some very predictable shit that you could have stayed out of, but you didn't realize shit got real until you got into that corner. But you got to have the foresight to think about these things well before you get into the corner. Because that corner is always waiting on your ass, whether you think it's there or not. You got a hell of a lot to lose the moment that you can't fucking produce. You realize that that shit really don't last that long when you ain't got money coming in. It really don't last that long if you ain't got marketable skills to go out there and be able to use in another situation. You realize that shit runs out pretty fast. This is why I'm saying most of these older people in this marketing environment that you being gamed into trying to take seriously to validate your manhood, hey man, you're gonna end up fucking up your life over that shit, man. Don't do that shit. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. That shit's not entertainment. But I know. I guess I'm just a hater, right? I guess I don't want men to make money, right? I'm just saying we gotta be doing this shit a better way than this. Y'all need to recognize it, man, that this could be one of your last shots that you have to really plan this thing out right. Dude, you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Right now, I'm in Portland, Oregon, walking around this industrial area. This industrial area has about 30 RVs on the side of the road. 30. And these people, ain't none of them black. None of them. Not that it would matter, but you have to understand that, man, you got to maximize choice when you got the chance, man. You got to have that $4, $5, $10, $15,000 in the bank when the opportunity comes to a head, so that way you can send your ass into another income zone. But if you don't save the money or put yourself in a proper position, how are you going to be able to do that if you constantly fighting from out the goddamn corner? You're waiting on shit to happen in your life so that way it can kickstart your ingenuity to think about shit the way that you should have been thinking about it the entire time. We got to get rid of that. No judgment. I'm just saying, look, man. Let's say for the sake of argument, everybody that fucked up in this chat. But here's the thing, man. You still got a chance to turn this motherfucking shit around. You still got time left on the clock. That's why the track record starts when you want it to start. That's why the track record is all about history. Even if your history is recent, people can still see the growth from when you messed up. That's why I talk about the track record so much and so often. Because this is something that you got sole control over. That's what I'm talking about. All these people made the same mistake. I talked to a couple people. They said that 3 or 4 months ago, these people on the side of the road, they say 3 or 4 months ago, they was living in a $400,000 or $500,000 house. They wasn't even thinking about check to check because the money was always there and things was always automatic. Next thing you know, COVID hit. They got laid off from the job. Mortgages not being paid. 120 days later, being thrown out of that place. Another 4 months later, they done blown through the savings that they had, the little that they did have, and now they on the streets. And like the same situation that I was in, I could not tell you where the money went. I still don't know where the money went before I was homeless. I couldn't tell you. I ain't even know where the money went. This is why you be conscious of where all the money go. So that way when you need that stuff, you actually have it. This is why I want you to think about this stuff before you get in the corner. There's going to be a lot of people on the market who's going to act like they done changed. There's going to be a lot of people on the market who's going to act like they don't have the cultural track record that they clearly have. A lot of people. But see, but what you got to understand as a guy is that you always got value. And you deserve the freshest thing possible. You don't have to eat leftovers, man. You should be always and consistently putting yourself in the best position to win at all times. Fuck this skin color shit. I'd rather hand down a better fucking system that's gonna last rather than some skin color shit that don't nobody give a fuck about how it was raised. You got this choice. That's what choice is all about. It's about being responsible for the fucking outcomes. I couldn't wait to be responsible for the fucking outcomes. I still fucked up, but at the end of the day, I still turn the shit around, man. That's why it's vitally important that you start getting this shit under control right now. You want to be in tech? You don't know what the fuck you're doing? Hey, look at some of them job postings. Give somebody a call, have a conversation. Get yourself a mentor, have a conversation. When you get a mentor in your life and they're actually trying to help you go to some other place to where your ass ain't at, you need to be on the ball. They ask you to do some shit and cross some bench lines and benchmarks, you need to do that shit. That's why all this stuff is vitally important. You can't be looking for happiness the same way these other people got it. Because that stuff don't look as easy as it clearly is. There's a lot of hang-ups living that type of lifestyle, man. Most of which they're not going to tell you. What's going on, Fantastic? So what y'all got to understand is you got to dodge this fucking corner, man. That corner. I'd rather you have this stuff under control. That's what I'd rather you have you do. How about this for the alternative? Situation comes up that has something to do with you. You got 5 or 10 racks to go handle it right away, and you back being in a safe and secure position. Mission accomplished. Or, on the other hand, the situation could come up. You could be completely cleaned out. And you ain't got nowhere to go, nowhere to turn to, no one to lean on, no one to really talk to. I've been in positions too. It ain't something that you want. Because I'm going to tell you right now, nobody wants to hang around when your shit ain't straight. Then you're going to realize all that time you could have spent getting your shit together is now spent trying to run 2 races at the same time. Stop from being homeless and trying to get your shit together. It's not fun, man. I've been through this shit twice. It is not fun at all. This is why you got to maximize the shit you do with your time, man. Because a lot of people are making struggling look like it's some fashionable shit. I'm telling you, it's not. Life is supposed to be boring once you have all your shit together, man. It's gonna be boring than a motherfucker. But at least your shit's straight and your shit's secure and you ain't got to worry about all this other shit that's happening to other people. And you can't be attaching yourself to other people who can't keep their shit straight. So that way you're not having your actual mental state caught up in other people's circumstances to the point to where you're actually spending your money trying to help other motherfuckers out. You gotta stop doing that shit too. No, they don't. The motherfuckers did everything that they could before they put my ass in that veteran shelter. The motherfucker was pissed off that I was a black male fucking veteran. Them motherfuckers did not want to put my ass in that fucking shelter. And I was there for 3 fucking weeks and I got the fuck out of there. I spent every day in the motherfucking library. Outside of eating fucking soup at the fucking church and the dinner that they gave at the motherfucking other church, that's where I spent my fucking time. Trying to get the fuck out of that place. And a lot of people went to that place and they fucking been there for 5 or 6 fucking years, man. Hey, look, bro, I ain't want to do that shit. I seen what these motherfuckers look like. I seen how they didn't gave up. I thought I had problems until I got around motherfuckers who had some real problems. And that's when I wanted to get the fuck away from all this shit. Son of Israel, it depends on the city. Like they got a good program in Denver, Colorado now, but they definitely didn't have that shit fucking 10 years ago. Just like they didn't have that fucking big ass VA hospital in Aurora. They didn't have that shit 10 or 15 years ago either. Especially if your ass is in one of these conservative fucking states, man, you fucked if you're a veteran, man. They don't give a fuck. This is why you're not supposed to know how failure looks. You're not supposed to know how failure feels unless you're actually reading it in a motherfucking story or hearing somebody's story for yourself. This is why when I come across people who are homeless, I want to hear the fucking story. That's what I'm paying for. I want to hear the story so that way I can learn something from this entire situation. That's what I pay for. But y'all don't need to be in these situations, man. That shit ain't cool to be trying to fight your way out of a corner. You make one wrong move and it take 3, 4, 5 years off of your life. And I'm not talking about prison time. I'm talking about trying to recover your reputation and your life for some shit that you shouldn't even been in. Obviously, some of these people about to get they serve on for about 25 fucking plus, but that ain't gotta be you. You could just look at this situation, listen to it, and say, damn, that's fucked up. Man, I ain't never put myself in no situation like that for nobody. That's some shit that you gotta say up front. That's some shit you gotta say right away. And that's why I do my channel. So that way we can create more men who's gonna keep their shit straight. I'm not trying to sell you the fuck out. I'm not trying to give you some fucking bullshit fucking advice that's gonna end up fucking you up in the long run. I want to be held responsible for anything that you fucking do that I fucking say that your ass should be doing out here. That's the shit I want to be proud of. I don't want to be out here doing this other shit, man. Because trying to be this criminalistic motherfucker or trying to be Goldie the Mac in 2020 is gonna end up fucking your goddamn life up. I understand that you haven't been taught to take control over shit. I understand that you may not have been managing your own personal clock right. That's cool. Guess what? You can change that shit tomorrow, today. You can change that shit. I'm just trying to get in contact with y'all before you fuck it up. And it takes a hell of a long time to recover from it. That's it. This shit shouldn't really be that hard, man. But given these circumstances that a lot of these people are born in, it's kind of hard to see the forest through the trees when everybody's on that fuck shit. And you want to feel like a human being while being around these people, but you got to be on this bullshit in order to be feeling like a human being. I tell you what, son of Israel, like the first time I went through that shit, the very first apartment I got, I didn't put no fucking furniture in that place for a whole entire fucking year to remind myself, you should never be in those type of circumstances again. Even though it was for different reasons that was outside of my control. But at least I had the money to kind of recover pretty fast, and I've recovered pretty fast for it the second time that it happened. But yeah, that's what it is, man. So I'm gonna drop this link in the chat. She wants to come up, say some words, and then we're gonna get up out of here, man. I don't want to waste y'all day. I just wanted to get this message out, man, because there's a lot of people out here, man. They're really trying to just make it off of destroying the environment and not really caring about what is actually being created and wanting this free pass to just print bullshit and end up fucking other people's lives up and thinking that they could just claim it's entertainment and walk away from that shit. Like, nah, man, I want you doing that. I want you to get your shit straight, and I want you to not share with anybody. If a person doesn't have the track record of appreciating the actual path that your ass is on in life, perhaps you need to not be around those people. Because here's the thing. If your ass ain't around, they're just going to find somebody else. It just don't need to be you. That's just what this thing is about, man. Maximizing choices and responsibilities. Oh, fantastic. What's going on, man?
What up, MOT? You got it, man. What's going on with you?
Oh, not much, man. Just listening, just listening looking at all these situations, man. I just thought to myself, man, a lot of these people are fighting from that corner, man. That corner ain't no good place to be fighting from, man. Not even in boxing. It's not
Yeah,
good, man.
but yeah, man. Like you said, man. That's why I was just saying it earlier, bro. I hope the brothers really look at you, bro, and see the inspiration and see the story and the possibilities. That's the most important thing, man. Because the worst thing in your life is to be down to the point of where you get knocked down. But like you said, man, like you said, you had to get back up. And you trying to tell these dudes from experience. So man, please, like this man is telling y'all, the ultimate, example of success and going through, he's still telling you, had you did shit the right way, you plan out things, man. And this is where it goes back to what we talking about fathers, the importance of fathers and just everything in the black community that we don't have. This is why you gotta learn about economics, you gotta learn about savings, you gotta learn about, debt income ratio, all those things that are extremely important. Um, you got to learn about all those things that are extremely important. And yeah, man, you have dudes here that are able to tell you the roles to take or not to take. You know what I mean? And like I said, I don't think I think a lot of these dudes see what you're seeing just as entertainment. Like you just out here, read from a movie script. It's like, nah, this is man's life, man. He's telling you. So by all means, bro, you got to take heed. And we help each other out where we weren't helped out, earlier on in manhood or childhood and everything else. So I just think, brothers definitely need to listen to what you're trying to tell them, man. And that bro, the worst thing you could ever be, like you said, man, especially when it comes to having that savings and stuff, bro. when I got hit with the whole child support thing or whatnot, bro, and I had to my everything changed. They start taking that extra, $1,100 out of my check per month, and I'm already covering a mortgage and all this other stuff. And I'm a sneaker guy, but lo and behold, I had to end up selling them sneakers, bro, at a loss. You know what I'm saying? I had to just basically sell them for retail value versus the resale, because you know what I did in the meantime between time and getting this shit, I didn't stack my money up right. So yeah, man, you speaking nothing but facts and truth, and we got to get on this shit.
No, man, when I had to sell my jersey collection, man, that shit. But let me tell you, man, like after I went through some shit like that, man, and after I moved all that shit out into a fucking storage unit, you know what, fantastic? Man, I ain't never accumulating no type of shit like that. Never again in my motherfucking life, man. I ain't never doing no shit like that again, man. Especially when you fucking losing fucking everything. You look like, man, look at all this shit. What the fuck am I doing with all this shit?
Yep.
And you just
man.
trashing all that shit. And it's like, this shit ain't worth nothing to nobody. You put this shit on Craigslist, motherfuckers come by, giving your ass funny looks and shit. And it's like, damn, man, this shit feels so fucking bad, dude. I could have at least did this shit the right fucking way. And now look at me, man. These motherfuckers will look like dude, I got rid of a 70-inch flat screen for like $200.
Yeah.
Like, just because I ain't have my shit straight, man. I gave away, well, not gave away, but had like some purple leather motherfucking couches and shit. Sold that shit for like $150. Like, because your boy wasn't right, man. And it's like, once I, what I'm saying, got all that shit, and I seen exactly what the world thought of a motherfucker, man. I'm like, you know what? When I get my next motherfucking chance, I ain't never coming back to this type of situation again, man. I ain't never coming back to this shit. And that's why I
man,
work every motherfucking day that I can, man.
Yeah, that's the most important thing too, man. Like I said, you got to start learning, actual assets and investments versus just the trinkets, man. And like I said, hell, you from Mississippi originally, right? Mississippi. Yeah, you know how that shit go, man. Like I said, with us, it's nothing but trinkets. Jordans, jerseys, 24s, box Chevys, all that kind of crazy shit. And that's to you. That's how we talk for like at least 18 years of your life. That's success, man. You know what I'm saying? Shit don't even add up to $5,000, bro. You know what I'm saying? Not even
Not
$5,000.
shit.
Yeah,
I'm telling
nothing.
you, man, I'm spending thousands of dollars on this shit from like, the fine furniture store and shit. Them motherfucker looked at me like 150. I'm like, God damn, I gotta take this money because damn. Yeah, that's what it is, man. Like, that shit is cheap shit. And I started putting my fucking value and worth in the wrong fucking thing. And when it came down to it, nobody valued that shit like I did. They ain't give a fuck about that.
That's true. That's very much true.
What's going on, Lawrence?
Hey, it's going good, man. Yeah, I came on here because I saw the title and I was like, man, I need to hop in here immediately because that's a true thing. Is a lot of brothers out here will get into, like you said, getting different trinkets, Jordans, jerseys. For me, it's electronics. I get a lot of electronics. But I know not to go overboard and bite off too much that I can't chew on, because if you're going through the world and you're not really thinking about what you're spending your money on, when that time comes, like you said, when you might get back into the corner, people gonna look at the stuff you got, and even though you put a value on it, they're gonna say, okay, you might got this value on it, but you backed into the corner. We know you need something from us, so you know what, that, like you said, the furniture you got, okay, yeah, I'll give you 100 for that. And like you said, you look at that and you say, man, I really like this. When I saw it at first, it costed this much, and I said, I love it, so I'm gonna pay that much. But now that you
Here's the
backed into
thing,
the
man.
corner, go ahead.
Here's the crazy shit about it, man. I paid the motherfuckers $150 to fucking deliver that fucking TV, take it up 3 flights of fucking steps, and I sold that bitch for $150 fucking dollars. Oh, could have fucking killed your boy.
Man,
God damn, man, what the fuck?
Oh man, I know the feeling of it, man. Like I got some electronics here. I mean, I haven't been like really backed into the corner, but I know the feeling of like when you're like, man, I get the thought of like, why did I buy this? And then I, put it on somewhere to sell, and you end up selling it for much less than originally paid
No
for it.
doubt, man. No doubt,
And
bro. That's why I'm
you
like,
know,
man, look, hey man, look, if I can't put that, well, I got the big house obviously, but places
mhm.
that I rent, like, look, man, if I can't put that shit in no small ass U-Haul, I'm not getting that shit. Period. Fuck all that. I'm not doing that shit. No more. I'm not moving that amount of shit that I can't even explain that I had. I am never going through that type of shit again, man. Ever.
Exactly. I got a friend here. I just got through helping him like move some of his stuff like on the base housing. He just sold his house and sold some land and such. And
Oh, nice.
I just got through helping him move his stuff. And he had so much just I
I
won't
know,
say
man.
it's junk because I know he's got, value in the things that he's bought, but it's so much of it. And we were just talking about it. He was like, man, I'm moving all of this. And it's like you don't even remember why he's got some of this stuff. I mean, but we got to get it moved, so that he can have his house. So, because the person that's buying it, they don't care about that junk. They just want it
Oh hell
gone.
no, man. No, man.
They
They don't
want
care
that
about
shit
that
out
shit.
of there. And we gotta get to the point to, like I said, we gotta start, one, having some appreciation for some things that they hold value,
Man, for
but
real.
the space that they hold is like because land, like everyone already knows, land doesn't lose value like that. I mean, some could lose some value, but most of the time it's gonna go up in value.
Yeah,
And
no
that
doubt.
space is never like bad space to be occupied. Um and as far as getting back into the corner goes, I really appreciate the space for the folks that are in here, like you and many others, fantastic, that go and tell people, hey, look, don't get into these problems with people that they don't have any value for you. They don't see any value in you. And so they don't have any problem getting you backed into a corner because they're like, all right, whatever, he gonna be on his own when that time comes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and like this is like another corner that black men get back into that don't nobody touch on is that self-worth corner. That
Hmm.
self-worth corner. Being caught up in other people's situations and shit. Like when black men to get, who try to tie their self-esteem to like these women out here. Next thing you know, they're in this relationship, a bunch of fucking kids, and I'm like, bro, this shit ain't worth in-house pussy, man.
It's not
Maybe
worth
you
it.
need to just stay the fuck out of this shit and leave this shit up to the motherfucker who started this shit in the first place. And it's like, when you have older men just keep pumping out this fucking message, I'm like, man, that shit blows my fucking mind, man. Because a lot of these motherfuckers could be investing in themselves and could be employing maybe thousands of fucking people. But that dude's dreams are fucking shot to shit because he decided to sell himself short and get himself in this non-valuable fucking situation and end up fucking up his whole ability to be able to produce, man. See this shit
Exactly.
all the time, bro. And it's like, oh man, you had to drop out of school. You had to do all this shit. You had to go into the workforce right away. You're the second year in fucking school, engineering school. Now you the gossip chick pregnant. Now you got to go. Now you're working at a fucking grocery. What the fuck did you do with your life, man?
Mm-hmm.
You
Because I
you
would always, oh, go ahead.
hear me? Full ride scholarship, engineering. Next thing you know, you got a couple chicks pregnant. Now you got to drop out and produce right away at a shitty fucking rate, so that way you ain't got to go to jail. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. You can be you can have some fucking self worth without all this bullshit around you, man. I know people been neglected within this environment, yada yada yada, but you don't bridge the gap with shit like that though. You bridge the gap by having your shit together. So that way you could be able to move all across the fucking country. If the money's there, you can pick up and move. That's the position that you need to fucking be in, man. That's the prime position that you need to be in, is to move to the fucking money when it's somewhere else or when it leaves. Because that's where I messed up at. The IT market went down And next thing you know, it went from 100 to all this shit. And next thing you know, your boy would easily take a $25,000 or $30,000 fucking a year job. But you know, when you're out of the market for so fucking long, there's something wrong with your ass. And next thing you know, you gotta start all the way the fuck over. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have the mind of fucking presence to understand that maybe I need to take a lesser job right now. That's another mistake I fucking made. Was not 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 moving to like a small ass city and shit. And like, you know, being the big dog there. You know, I was just trying to hold down this Denver, Colorado thing and end up fucking your boy up. So sometimes, man, you just gotta move to the money, man. If you got skills, just fucking go where the fucking skills are at, man.
That's a huge thing too, MOT. Like that right there, what you just said is worth its weight in gold, and we actually seeing this in real time with people getting the fuck up out of New York and California, man. And like you said, bro, we're really ego driven because I mean you're built to be in the black community. Everything is about ego. Everything is about the bigger nigga, right? The dude who's the who got the freshest this or the loudest that or whatever. So you get that mentality ingrained in you to where like, oh no, I'm gonna make it here. I gotta make it here. I gotta make it where it's popping at or where it's live at versus like you said, man, going to somewhere where your 50,000 is actually 70,000. You know what I'm saying? Because it's your 100,000 in motherfucking New York and in California. Shit, that shit is like 50. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. So we gotta get that's why I say, man, this shit is crazy. MOT, like this shit right here, bro, is like this is shit people pay to hear, man. This shit people pay to hear. And again, we don't get to hear this shit until, you know what I'm saying, we in a space like this because you can't talk like this, in a regular setting. Oh nigga, you lame, oh nigga, that's that. And again, man, it's not about that. And like you said, the most important thing too, man, is understand sometimes, bro, you gotta be by yourself. All right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta be by yourself, man. You ain't gotta always be with a bitch. You ain't always gotta lay up with a bitch. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying you gotta go monk mode and not fuck hoes and not deal with chicks at all. But as far as being in a relationship and shit, man, especially like I said, if you're not together yourself and then too you bringing on a woman, and bro, you don't never know what the hell a woman got playing in her head, man. That's why I tell y'all my story, bro. I was with this chick. Already was two kids deep. I'm not thinking nothing about no kids. Everything's going cool, fine and dandy. Next thing I know, she turned up pregnant. She pregnant with twins. Why? Because she saw a future with me that I didn't fucking see with her, and she was gonna guarantee it by getting pregnant on purpose. So again, man, when you do that and you literally put your life in the comfort of having a bitch, like you said, that in-house pussy, man, that in-house pussy can turn out real bad, real fast, man. Because you never know what the hell this woman got planned for you that you don't got planned for her.
No doubt. What's going on, King Sigma? Thanks for coming on, man.
Shout out to Sigma.
Yeah, he in here twice. I don't know what's going on with that.
He might be on with his phone.
Yeah, I don't hear him.
But yeah, I just before he comes on, yeah, I listen to a lot of what you guys speak about on here. I've been on here since I was 22, I think. Yeah, since I was 22, and I'm 25 now. So yeah, I've just been getting the information from you guys. Keeping notes and staying on my grind. And I'm happy with where I'm at now. Like, shoot,
Indeed,
the freaking pandemic stuff came on. I made a little bit of money off the stocks, and I from the money I saved from being in the military, man, shoot, I could sit here and do my coding training, and I don't have to worry about nothing. I got a whole duplex to my, well, not the whole duplex to myself. One side's rented out, but I'm sitting good here, and I don't gotta worry about any woman. And that's one of the things I want to try to really push to, other guys my age and younger to say, hey, man, just get on to doing what you need to propel yourself forward. The who was it? BGS did like a little video earlier about what was the name of it? About a cup of coffee, the price of a cup of coffee, and basically talking about how like the stock price of the marketplace out here, sexual marketplace, is basically going down. And so people gotta understand, now is not the time to get yourself all entangled with something right now, because you're getting entangled with something that the price on it is dropping. that's not a smart thing to do right now. What's smart is just work on yourself, build yourself up, because like my dad will always say, man, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be there, man. So there's no need to get yourself in a rush with anything right now. You know, just no rush for that.
Yeah, man. Like
Brother
you said,
speaking right now?
you good. No, it
Oh,
was
okay.
me. It was me real quick. It's all you, Sigma. Go ahead, bro. We was waiting for
Hey,
your
go ahead,
audio to
Miss.
come in. You got it.
I was having some problems with my mic. Go ahead and finish, Miss Fast. I'll come up to you.
No, you got it, brother. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, good Monday to everybody. MOT, thanks for having me on. Shout out to the panelists, the viewers. As usual, it's always a good topic on this channel. When you were talking about the whole thing about focusing on your money and really just being the only one that's going to be there for you on your worst day, I mean, it's true, man. You'll be happy and lucky if you have a few relatives that have come through for you on your worst day, if you're in a relationship, if the woman that you're with, that she comes through with you. But in my experience, man, on your worst days, especially as men, because we tend to be a little bit proud, more egotistical, and it's hard for us to ask for help. Because I know in my own situation, when I hit a rough bump in the road in life, when I was working for a Fortune 100 insurance company as a registered representative, and when the money dried up at the corporation because of the recession, they had no hesitation in letting go 25% of their workforce within 1 week and another 20% a month later. And it was like, for me at that time, man, I was so much like the company man kind of guy, very idealistic. I was flying really high, man, a nice 2-story loft in downtown area, not too far from my corporation. Everything looked so damn good, man. And in just like the snap of a finger, those stock prices dropped in 1 week. And then a month later, I found myself in a situation where they gave you a nice little severance package, but the severance package and the unemployment that you got, that shit only lasts you about 6 weeks. So I saw one of the brothers in the chat talking about that. And it was on that day that I learned the importance of living below my means. Now, I had family that would help me out. I had a woman I was dealing with, but that still is just a little bit of help. When you're over leveraged, when you have debt, you have like a car note, you're paying over $1,000 in rent. And a man, I don't know about you guys, but I eat about $400 worth of food every month just by myself. So I got to calculate that shit because I eat a lot. And I'm not talking about going out to eat. I like eating strip steaks and T-bones. So that shit costs money out here in this market, $10, $13 just for one meal. So it was on that day for me, man, that I learned that you got to live below your means. And when I heard the brother talking about the minimalism, that became like my mode of living. You can let these foods sell you on that hyper consumerism that you want, but I guarantee you, all of these Barnum and Baileys that are selling that shit, when you're over leveraged with all those expenses and something, because the thing about it, you could be having a 6-figure job. How many people do you know right now that had 6-figure jobs that ended up losing their job in this COVID crisis right now? Because I know ain't no one admitting it, but ain't no way you're gonna tell me that lots of people that was making 6 figures is not now living off of an unemployment of what, $600 a week, $700 a week now? That might be something that can just get you to the next day. But when you're used to living with $7,000, $8,000 a month cash coming in, and your income drops to like 2,000 or 3,000, you in trouble. And guess what? All these people selling you this aspirational pie in the sky nonsense, they're not gonna come there to save you. And I learned that from real world experience, bro. I've told the story of when I lost my job and how it wasn't that the severance money wasn't good and that the unemployment wasn't good. It was the fact that I was living way above. I was living for the next job that I thought I was going to be guaranteed to get. Because again, there was no reason to believe that a recession was coming. So I just thought, okay, well, I know that in 6 months, I'll be up for this new job. That'll be like a $20,000 raise or whatever, right? Well, guess what? That $20,000 never came. And so I had all these expenses based on that. So that's for me, that was my personal experience with living above my means. and I don't give a fuck who you are. You not coming and selling me no idea that if I make 50,000, I should be living at $100,000 standard or whatever, because I've been down that road already.
Oh yeah. Hey man, it don't work, man. Like I'm telling you, like that situation, like I worked at MCI WorldCom. We was in the break room watching the fucking stock price drop, and then all of a sudden, like 13 fucking sheriff's department cars, you can see the shit from the highway. We're like, what the fuck? Yeah, man. And man, in like an hour, hey man, they had boxes in front of everybody's fucking desk and tell people get the fuck out of their building.
Yep.
Y'all done here.
And I've
I'm
seen
like,
that happen.
damn.
I've seen that happen to so many people, Mr. Fantastic. I got buddies that used to work for Target Corporation. Now, most people know that that's been a very healthy corporation. It's one of the larger. Man, I know cats that was getting it in the corporate life, and they did the same exact thing you just said. They came into work, they got their manager sitting there, they got the human resources, and they got security on deck just in case, and they got a fucking banker box lined up in every row, and they telling you, here's your unemployment information. Here's your what's the health insurance thing they give you from like Cobra or something?
Cobra.
Yeah. You don't got the good corporate insurance no more. You don't got government insurance. You got this temporary insurance bullshit. Then they got the box, and they tell you call this number.
$700 a month for Cobra bullshit.
Yeah, and your manager and the manager
Not
walks
the
down.
not the box, bro. Not the box in the.
Oh my god.
Man, they give you a classic banker's box, bro. You got that banker's box. They tell you get everything in here that you can fit. Otherwise, it's going in the trash. And then they walk your ass to that gate. Oh, that nice little badge that you've been wearing for the last 5 or 6 years, you got to return that too. And that's just how the shit works, man. And once that happens to you, that changes your outlook on things as I'm talking about a black man. It's hard enough to get into corporate America as a black man, but to stay there and to make it through like the business cycle for long periods of time, man, you got to be hella crafty out here. So I say to black men, always be focused on your skill set, your health, and maintaining. I know one of the brothers was talking about the cost of living. So, based on what your cost of living is in your region, you should always have a year's worth of banking cash available, liquidity, based on what your rent is, based on how much you eat per month, and miscellaneous costs and your transportation. For most men, that's going to be at least $2,000 a month, just minimum, just to survive in the worst case scenario. So you should be looking at $15,000 to $20,000 in your savings account out here right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, and here's the thing, man. That money is better than the bank than it is in the fucking parking lot, sitting on some $300 or $400 a month car for like 5 years and goofy shit like that, man. Nah, bro. Nah, man. Like, hey.
What can you do with that car though? But here's the thing with the car though, like if you're any, like I know you do like a lot with logistics, right? And there's always auctions in logistics. Here's the problem with putting your money in depreciating assets. So let's say you go out there and get the $50,000 car and you make $75,000. Well, you got that guaranteed money that's going out, but what happens when something comes up and let's say some business goes bankrupt, you're in logistics and there's like those places where you can house like your clothing and those storage units. Let's say one of those businesses has like a storage unit available and maybe you were in the market for that kind of thing that you need to store your stuff. Well, you just put your money into a depreciating asset. You don't got the liquidity that you need on that day to go and get $20,000 out the bank or $10,000 out the bank because it's in a asset that depreciates. That's why Jay-Z has that saying that you can't afford it unless you can buy it twice with cash. And it's true. You want to be liquid, as much as liquid as possible as a man. That's just my opinion. I don't mean, and I'm a capitalist all the way. So I don't mean, well, you need to be driving like a car from 1990. No, you can get a nice vehicle in the $10,000 to $20,000 range that's 3 or 4 years old, but then still keep your liquidity strong. That's all I'm saying. Keep your liquidity strong at all times.
Hey man, look, it's like this, man. I have an older car that's paid off. I never drive because I'm on the fucking road, and that's the way that shit gonna stay. I'm never getting in another situation where I'm losing another car or another motherfucking thing. I'm gonna stay exactly where I am. I'm gonna keep the productivity the same. I'm gonna do all this other shit on the fucking side, and I'm just gonna keep that shit straight and just know man, the greatest secret in the fucking universe that you're gonna have to keep to your fucking self is knowing that you got everything fucking taken care of and that you really ain't got shit and shit with nobody. The moment you start opening your motherfucking mouth and start buying all this shit that you don't fucking need, you're going to attract the wrong type of fucking problem. I'm gonna do a Patreon video on how this guy bought this fucking Lamborghini that I know, and it completely derailed and destroyed his fucking life just by having that car in his fucking life. His whole fucking life changed, and not for the fucking good either. So I'm just telling you, man. Sometimes, man, things are gonna have to be going straight, and you just can't be sharing that type of information with anyone because you don't know what these people got planned when they're off in their corner that they're in. You don't know what they're going to be trying on you.
Well, it's just a predatory mindset, man, and I've thought on it myself, about my own upbringing and the people that I, had to deal with coming up versus what happened once I got out of that environment. And I really just came to realize that it's a very low level predation because, and I've heard Mr. Fantastic talk about this as well, and I talk about it a lot. I'm a big fan of looking at the hierarchy of needs by Abraham Maslow and the self-actualization piece. Problem with most people from certain environments, they get stuck at the first step, the most basic needs of life. They spend their whole 72 years on earth stuck in that one step out of 5 steps. And I was in that environment as a child, and people's low expectations, people just telling you keep your expectations low instead of thinking bigger and thinking further and wider. And so most brothers, especially from the urban environments of America, they just never get out of the environment of the basic necessities of just shelter and food. Some of them will get lucky enough to have just enough money to maybe go beyond the shelter and food. But the problem is that most end up stuck in that mentality of just survival today. They don't even, because they're so low on the level of poverty that they can't even think about what is beyond if I actually get a year of savings. To me, there's something to be said about the peace of mind that comes when you look in your bank account and you know that if I get fired today, I'm good for at least the next 12 months. I won't have to worry about food. I won't have to worry about clothes or shelter or my transportation costs. Bro, every black man should experience that for a couple of months, just looking in his bank account and knowing he's not living check to check. That shit is a very freeing feeling, man. And then that's when you start to take your surplus income. Once you feel more stable, that's when you start to take your surplus income. I've always said that the best investment is always going to be in your education, which luckily now you don't have to go to a college or anything to get most education unless you're going to medical school or something like that. But now, if you could just take a couple months to get on that internet, get on that YouTube, get on Coursera, you can make that investment. But then once you get more knowledge of different industries and markets, you can start taking a little bit of your surplus income and investing in things like real estate, startup companies, Bitcoin, certificate of deposits, things like that. But it's a process. And you have to always look at yourself and not be so zoomed out that you're comparing yourself to where other people are in the process. Everyone is going to be at a different place. And, in terms of like their actualization at different times. And that's why it's key that you always put yourself foremost and that you make your own point, your own self the point of validation and outlook, because that way when women do come into your life, they're trying to validate themselves to you because you're confident in where you are and who you are. Too often brothers are listening to all of these like prosperity preachers that are, they're just everywhere now because of the reason why they all got their hands out. They're all looking for a quarter, but you better sit down and remember that one rule: know thyself. MOT can't tell me who I am. I can't tell MOT who he is. He can tell me about his experience. He can tell me what worked for him and didn't work. But then we got to go back to the whole Myers-Briggs lens. His whole personality and his old imprint may be 100% different than mine. So I can only take his experience and try to say, okay, if that happens, that might work for me. Most likely, it's not going to work for you because we all have our own point of origin, our own personality type, and our own experience. And we need to embrace that. Validate yourself. Stop looking for external validation from others, man.
And that's a great thing too, Sigma, that I always harp on is about you got to put the blinders on, man. You know what I mean? It's good to have that you know, that triumph or that success story, but at the same time, man, don't look at excuse me, you can't look at those people real time and try to compare yourself, because you're always gonna come up short if this person is already, you know, way ahead of you. And I always like to use the gym as an analogy, right? Bro, no matter how strong you are naturally or whatnot, what have you, building strength and building your physique takes extreme amount of time. So if you looking at the motherfucker next to you and you see this dude is just, ripped, sub 10% body fat, 20 some inch biceps and all these other things. And like you said, man, that's why I like to use the gym analogy. So there's so many different things that people don't realize come into factor. What's his genetics? Okay, what is he taking? Is he going, what is his diet? What is the metabolism? Like you said, Sigma, man, we have to start thinking, learning to think on the far deeper levels. But like you said, man, due to our upbringing, that's why a lot of us are stuck in that scarcity and that poverty mindset of just the bare necessity. Because hell, what's the first thing we told? Like, I gave you a roof over your head and food in your stomach. And like, hey, damn it, that's a requirement. You got to. If you don't do that, you go to jail. But
Yeah,
yet
for
still,
real.
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's
You know
what
it is,
we're
Mr.
taught.
Fantastic? Like you said about the whole scarcity mindset, I was thinking about that in these conversations that we have in these spaces, and where this conflict comes in. You got one group of men, black men, that have an abundance mentality. Then you got this other way larger group that has a scarcity mentality that they got from women. And you think about it, you're always, as a black man, the default position is to tell you not what you can do, not what you can achieve, but the default is to tell you what you can't do and
Thank
why
you.
what you attempt to do.
Yeah,
You can't.
who do you think you are? How dare you think of yourself to be capable of that amazing shit? And that's what I'm telling, in this space we are about, bro. That's how everybody gets fucked over. We get thrown out into the world early. As soon as you turn 18, get the fuck out of my house, and then it's like, hey, produce. And if you don't produce, and if you dare to try something crazy, well, you crazy, nigga. Ain't nobody go this, ain't nobody go that, man. Like I said, once I got in this space, man, and like you said, you brothers actually helped me, because I done had ideas of a lot of these things long before, but I was always thought to make myself think, hey, bro, what are you doing? You ain't nobody special. You ain't this, you ain't that. You're not a celebrity. You're not making this amount of money. And it's like, well, nigga, how you gonna do anything if you never try? You know what I'm saying? The best people in this world, especially when it comes to money, is risk takers, man. You have to be a risk taker. You have to bet on and go all out on yourself. Because if you, at the end of the day, it's going to only be you, regardless, no matter how it turns out. You know what I'm saying? If you fail, it's going to be you dead by yourself. If you succeed, it's going to be you dead by yourself at the pinnacle of success. And then you'll see everybody else hop on your jock and try to ride your motherfucking coattails, man. So
Well,
you got to get that confidence.
that's why guys like yourself get so much hatred, because see, you're seeing things from such a different position. Like, look at someone in the military. I didn't go to the military. I went straight to college on a scholarship. But let's take someone that went to the military, right? They come out of high school at 17 or 18. They haven't achieved shit, because men, our whole identity based on the external world is what we achieve. Society looks at us for what have you achieved. Otherwise, society doesn't give two shits about you as a man. Just that simple, unless you happen to be born rich or something. But for the most part, men are considered expendable. So you're judged by achievements. So you go out, you go to your boot camp. That might be your first achievement. Maybe you graduate from high school, but you made it through boot camp. And here's where that confidence comes from, because everybody not going to make it through boot camp. Then you go up the ladder slowly over time. It's the same thing with college. The thing about college is that it requires a certain amount of time management and discipline, especially in the heart of the field, especially when you go to big university, because there's so many goddamn distractions when you're at a large university, that you have to learn time management. You have to learn like a certain level of discipline, and you also have to be a long-term thinker. Achievement and those steps that a person takes builds up their confidence. So what happens when you bring men who are used to taking those, I've heard MOT use the term incremental steps, gradual steps, because that's how the biggest achievements are achieved. In sports, we only see the game on Sunday, but you don't know, I went to a Big Ten university. I lived not too far from our football team's facility. I would be getting up to go to class. The football team was in the damn facility at 5 a.m. drinking, those machines that make protein shakes?
Yeah.
They got these boys in there from the moment they hit campus. They got like shake machines in there. They got nutrition in there. You better have your butt in there at 6 a.m. So we only see the game on Saturdays and Sunday, but these dudes are full time applying themselves to the trade of athletics. And it's the same thing in anything you want to be successful as. It's the small steps and the repetitive practice of rudimentary skills that builds the foundation for the other skills that come, like the finite skills. So I think that's what happens, that brothers that are used to doing it, that taking incremental steps to achieve something, you come in contact with guys that have never achieved anything in life. There's plenty of guys out here that are 40 years old. They ain't achieved a fucking thing in their life outside of, they could say that maybe they was a high school basketball player and then it was all downhill from there. But when you try to bring men that understand incremental processes and blueprinting in life versus those that are just living on the fly, bro, that shit is gonna be like a civil war every time. It doesn't work, and it ain't gonna work. And we need to stop trying to fool ourselves that it's going to work, because these people, their constitution of themselves is too opposed to each other, man. They're two different tribes trying to go into this space, and that's never gonna work, man.
Yeah, and that's what I always say, man, that the separation is very key. It's like, everybody isn't like, this is the conversation that need to be kind of the benchmark. Like, this is what I ultimately want to go on doing, like, once I, get this blog talk and shit set up, man. So that way we could talk to people after we have these discussions and shit, to try to keep people on the fucking right track, man. Because there ain't no show out there like that for black men that actually does that on a day-to-day basis, that just focus on the path of getting your shit together and keeping your shit straight. Period. There isn't one. Not for men, and especially not for black men either. But it's like everybody's going through this shit, man. Everybody's going through it. Right now, I'm in Portland. I just walked down the street. It's 28 fucking RVs in this fucking industrial park. 28 on the side of the fucking road. And ain't none of those people black. None of them. Most of those people were in $500,000 homes 7 months ago. Now they fucking homeless. Shit ain't never happened to them in their fucking life. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, nothing is better than having your shit already together and nothing to fucking worry about. And as long as you keep the circle small, and as long as you keep your shit reasonable, dude, you ain't got nothing else to worry about. You already got this shit halfway in the fucking bag. You just can't attach shit to your life that's gonna put your thinking in some type of mind state to where you got to produce a hell of a lot more than the situation allows. If you're a single ass dude, you need to be dealing with somebody with some single ass circumstances. And if they got some buildable shit, then do that. But you ain't gonna be able to be in that situation, and that person is in dire straits. You ain't gonna be able to get no quick hit out of that shit. That motherfucker got a plan for your ass, just like Mr. Fantastic said. And it's just that you're not gonna outgame a motherfucker who is more in dire straits than you are. That shit's never gonna fucking happen, man. And a lot of these people are gonna find out the hard way. I don't want it to happen that way. But at the end of the day, man, you gotta be more responsible with this chance that you got. Way more responsible. Just saying, look. I got it.
No, go ahead and finish. Go ahead and finish.
I'm just saying, look. I'm just assuming everybody who listening to this chat done fucked up, right? Hey, man, look, you're still alive. You still got time on the fucking shot clock. We gotta fucking get on the ball, man. And don't nobody else know what your situation is but you. You ain't gotta tell nobody. And guess what? Once you have your shit together, it's gonna be just like it is now. Nobody knows a fucking thing about you except for when you open your fucking mouth. And that's how the shit's gonna be. Me, I ain't gotta explain shit to nobody about what the fuck I got or what I'm doing. Why? I'm not at home. And
you mentioned that you just saw those RVs out there and you drive around the country, so you're getting that, like, real world view of what's going on throughout the country. I was thinking about something, right? So it's like, there's this author, he used to be the editor of The Atlantic, called Frederick Lewis Allen. And I was trying to figure out, we've had all these ups and downs throughout history, right? Where, the society will be in like its golden age and things will be going so great for most people. Then there'll be a time when some kind of crisis comes. some kind of recession, some kind of depression, but then somehow the people will recover from that. And this dude wrote a book called Only Yesterday, an informal history of the 1920s. I was trying to figure out like this situation that we're in with COVID, right? So we had the 1920s was considered like the roaring 20s in America, where all this damn money was made, new markets were created, all these multimillionaires came out of nowhere, but then it was followed by a depression. But then that economic depression that ruined so much and reordered society, still, they recovered eventually. And then it was followed by one of the most prosperous 25 years in history. So to build on what you're saying, this shit is temporary, man. This whole thing is temporary. So people are trying to say on the idea that it's permanent, but I've seen no evidence in history that some people won't always be benefiting from whether a society is in a good, a bad, or an ugly condition. Now, that doesn't mean that, you know, you're working at a corporation or something, or you're living in America and the damn name on the jurisdiction doesn't change or the name on the building doesn't change. But there's always a group of winners that somehow, no matter if a society is going this way or that way, they always come out on top. So what I'm proposing to brothers that come to this space, be in the winners section. Make yourself so adjustable and so adaptable that no matter which way the wind goes, you are going to be in the group that's going to survive this shit. Because guess what? All these doomsayers, what happens when their predictions are wrong? Does anyone ever get a refund? Does anyone ever get reimbursed for the years that they lost? The money that they lost? Listen to the people that told you it's over, you might as well give up like them, the underachievers and the non-achievers. No, there is no collection agency that's going to go find all these people. So you need to be thinking as far as like, how do I win if things go this way? Don't stop looking for other people to solve the problem for you. That's the one great thing about this COVID thing. Because COVID has created so many problems, it's created opportunities for problem solvers. That means that there's going to be even more problems that need to be solved. And that's where wealth is built. And that's where all these titans of industry come from, because they solve some kind of human need on the hierarchy of needs. Those are the best businesses that have ever existed in America. The ones that solve human needs, things like love, food, shelter, efficiency, transportation. Them is the fucking companies that are built. Look at, we're on YouTube right now. The most visited website in 2020 so far. It's now #1. And then you go down the list, guess what you see? Facebook. What does Facebook do? It brings people together in the digital communities. Then you go down the list. You see Amazon in there. What does Amazon do? It gets people the things that they want and desire in an efficient way. So the question becomes, what problems has COVID created that are going to need to be solved? And are you going to look to the next man to solve them for you? Or are you going to become a part of that solution in solving it? That's what I'm asking, brothers, man.
Yeah, man. And like you said, you have to be willing to do the research, do the work, and look for those things you talk about, Sigma. Like you said, man, once you see a hole open up, man, you got to be the person to beat everybody to the punch to feel it. You see the need, you got to understand and learn the things. Like I said, bro, man, I was that guy, and I seen plenty of other guys that, you know, just go throughout your whole adult life, bro, you know, bullshitting around and you know, chasing hoes, having fun, all this other thing. But what are you doing that's productive? What are you doing something that's, what are you investing your time in that's going to repay you for that time? Like literally, and the most important thing, and we know that's money, because you need money to live. Money don't got to be everything, but it is a big thing. So the whole aspect of it, man, is you got to learn these skills, you got to learn these industries, you got to learn these things to put yourself in a position to capitalize when this shit is, you know, available for you to be able to afford it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing too, man. Like shit, you know, when everything's booming, like right now, you got, you know, record high stocks and all these things and so on and so forth. But you know, just a few months ago, if you was in it when these shits bottomed out, and you got in on a couple of these stocks, and you bought up a decent amount of the shares, then the whole game changed. Why? Because like you said, there was a downturn. There was something bad that happened. But if you had your money together, you was able to invest and actually purchase something you never ever had a chance to get the amount of, because it was at the normal high. So yeah, man, it's a lot of things, man, that in the space, man, you brothers gotta pick the brains of the people. And that's another big thing too, Sigma. I'm glad you said that shit, man. Bro, the hardest thing in the world, bro, is to ask for help. And this goes back to MOT's original point of like getting your back against the wall. man, ask for help, man, before it gets to like you about to die, nigga. I know it's hard. I know it's hard, man, but you know, ask for the help early, man. You know what I'm saying? When you see that motherfucking, you know, the avalanche coming, man, you see them rocks keep fucking, those pebbles start to fall, nigga, you see that big ass boulder at the top. Don't have faith, man, that boulder not gonna move when you keep seeing the little bitty rocks fall. Ask for help early and often, if and when you can, man. And like I said, it's better for you to feel a little shame now than the amount of shame it's gonna take you, because now you got to ask for way more when it's the worst possible opportunity, the worst possible worst possible position or situation, man. Versus you could have asked a lot earlier and you could have got yourself out of some dire straits type shit.
Oh yeah, I've been there, bro. Like when I was telling you guys that story, you know, I'm living in this expensive ass loft and I got this expensive car and all that. Man, it was I lasted about a good 6-7 weeks where I finally just had to call my parents, like, look, here's my situation. And it was the hardest thing to do, but it was like, man, I had so much money going out. I was like, I need a loan. But I've been there and I know that, man, we definitely we are embarrassed for asking for help, but that's the only time you should ask for help is when it's the last stop. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, you know, we just have to make it on our own. But when you at the bottom, it's okay to reach out to your parents, bro. It's okay to reach out to your friends at that point, because that's what they're there for, a security net, not a crutch, but a security net. And I think that's what's holding so many brothers back right now. They were raised by people that taught them that everything is a crutch. Everything, government is a crutch. The church is a crutch.
Everything codependent.
What's that?
Everything codependent, man. Like, it's not normal if it ain't codependent or dependent on somebody else. That's some of the worst shit. And it takes a long time to break that fucking cycle. But like, once you break that cycle of that shit, man, it's so free just to not need nobody's fucking help. It's so rewarding to close the door and not hear a bunch of motherfuckers talking, man. Like, I had to regain the appreciation for that shit, man. Dude, you talking about sleeping in a room with 20 stinking ass motherfucking crazy ass veterans, man. Bro, I ain't never going back to getting ate up by them fucking bed bugs and shit. Man, fuck all that, bro.
I could not imagine it.
See, that's something that you had to walk on your own, MOT, because I remember you told that story of a homeless shelter, and I don't think people understand, man, like, you're not going to be able to sell this low-tier street nigga thinking to someone that's walked that road already, bro, that's had to walk through the fire on their own. It's not going to work. They've been there. They knew what it was like, and no one can walk in your shoes, but that experience, something like that shit sticks with you forever. It ain't something that will ever leave your mind, bro. I was so embarrassed, man. When homies would call me up at that time, I was not answering calls. I was making excuses for why I couldn't go out on dates. I lost one of the baddest chicks that I ever had because I was too fucking embarrassed to tell her that I couldn't afford to go out on a date because I had to pay all my goddamn money to my rent and my car and insurance that month. I couldn't say nothing about it. And to this day, she's told other women that I know that I just dumped her and ghosted her. But that wasn't the truth. I was going through some personal shit after losing my job, and I needed to get all my expenses taken care of and actually get ahead of the game. But that experience is always in the back of my head, bro, because I remember, you know, again, I'm a person, I like eating T-bones and strip steaks. And when I lived in downtown, I lived by all these expensive restaurants things. So that's what I was used to. Man, when I had to go and buy like spaghetti and rice and fucking eat a bowl of oatmeal every morning, man, that was, you don't ever forget something like that, man. And so when you get these tricksters and these hucksters that are trying to sell you on ideas that have no proof of concept and reality, you got to keep it moving, man. That's the same shit that black men have been selling other black men since the civil rights movement, because it seems like we peaked and it's been all downhill since then because of that huckster blaxploitation kind of live for the moment, hustle, whoever you got to hustle. I hear these cats say the biggest nonsense. It don't matter what you do as long as you make money. And then I say, well, so what are we talking about the Epstein Island shit for? These were the most richest men on the planet, probably in fucking history. But yet you guys are saying that they should all go to prison for rape and pedophilia and molestation and all that, fraudulent. It's just some of the shit I hear brothers say. I'll be like, I'm glad I would never have to worry about being in business with these people or working with these people.
Well,
No,
hey,
man. Well, you know, man, most of these people, man, I just cannot have them watching my back, man, because I gotta watch my back in the real world, man. I ain't gotta be watching my fucking back under a fucking roof of a place that I'm fucking paying for, man. Fuck all that.
yeah,
Man, I'm not doing that.
like you said, man, this shit is, man, like you said, man, the more even the moral and principle aspect of it, bro, that's supposed to be the essence of a man to some degree, bro, because as a man, bro, you have power, you have fucking, you know, a man's reaction to something is life or death a lot of the times. The shit get out of hand, bro. So you're supposed to do everything in your power to keep it from going there. So like you said, man, King Sigma, I hear that shit all the time too. Motherfuckers like, hey man, I do anything for the bread. Hey man, bro, like, hey, that sounds good, because like I said, you know, that shit works until, you know what I'm saying, as long as you got the big pocketbook, right? As long as you the person, but what happens when you don't no more, and now you the person that's trying to get, you know, to get the money, and you basically are willing to do whatever it takes, you know, if you know what I mean, to get that money. And hey, sometimes whatever it takes, it be your whole manhood out here, bro. I heard some disturbing shit in this space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a whole 2 generations that have just been decimated by that mentality growing up in urban America with all that was the same thing I heard all the drug dealers saying as a kid. They always
Man,
said, well, as long as you're getting your money, it don't matter. And they destroyed so many lives. They destroyed their own lives. Because again,
man.
we don't talk enough about the D-boys that we all knew growing up that lived real big for just a few years. It was like a blip, you know, 2-3 years in the game.
2.5. 2.5 at best, man.
Yeah, and when they come and they knock that door down and they take all that wealth, oh, you got a house over here in your mom's name? That's going to the probate court too. Oh, you got that account in your girl name? Oh, we taking that too. Is there anything else that you're hiding? Because we'll put another 10 years on. Oh no, I got an account. Yep, that little 500,000 that you had, now you're actually paying the cops that money, because a lot of that money before the Supreme Court passed their recent law, over the last 30 years, all that money went back to like law enforcement. In some situations, city councils use the drug money to build
like asset forfeiture.
Yeah, they use the asset forfeiture thing to, like, I mean, but that was a whole generation. This wasn't like 1 year. We're talking about a 25-year drug war, billions and billions of dollars made, that now the Supreme Court said that shit was illegal, but the drug war is over now. Now it's illegal, but for 25 years, they took all that wealth that they got out of their little D-boys, and they put it back in their own communities, making them richer and richer. And what do the D-boys have to show for? What do the communities that they came out of have to show for 25 years of drug dealing? Not a fucking thing.
No, I mean, man, like at least the other dudes went to Vegas after they got kicked out of New York, man.
Yep. And Miami too, because Miami was built on cocaine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Miami was built on cocaine asset forfeiture as well. Don't let them lie to you.
Well, they talked about that. They
Yeah, man, like that whole downtown scene, man. Come on.
Yeah, all them skyrides and shit. Yeah, they talked about that heavy in Cocaine Cowboys, and the dude gave a big history of that shit. Like all of the fucking Miami skyline was pretty much cocaine money development, man. It was ridiculous. But yeah, man, like you said, the whole aspect of that too. That's why I say I just don't understand how after 2 generations of that shit, right? Well, not 2 generations, but 2 separate eras, because it was a gap between like the heroin era of like what 60s and 70s, and then you had the crack era of the late 80s, early 90s. And the black community went through both of those, bro, and we still out here promoting these that's the life. And like you say, you're paying the most dearly and on the individual level and on your whole demographic, like you say, your whole community, man. It's cities that have never ever recovered. Like Detroit was the, you know what I'm saying, the boom of the country. You know what I'm saying? And what? Crack era motherfucking hit, and GM decided to get up out of there, man. And then what happened? Look at it. And the shit has never ever recovered on some third world country type shit. Yeah, and won't and never will. So and yet still you got people out here, man, promoting this shit in the music and the entertainment, all of these things. Tell these young black boys to go out here, man, and pretty much motherfucking put your head in the guillotine, man, and don't hope that it don't drop. And you know what it is. It's just crazy. It's just ridiculous.
But that's a false narrative, though, Mr. Fantastic. When these guys say, well, it's just entertainment, that is the dumbest fucking argument that you can make with all that we know. We know that Edward Bernays,
I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. Hey, you know, hey, you speaking to the pod, Sigma. We don't have an understanding of psychological and subconscious programming, man. It's crazy. And like you said, center yourself. Yep, center yourself, man. You guys got to watch it if you haven't seen it.
Social engineering.
Yep.
This shit has been a science now. Edward, you did a whole video on that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So go check out Mr. Fantastic's video. But that was a book that I read in a communication class years ago by Edward Bernays. Very small book too, called Propaganda. You can get it for free now. He was the nephew of Sigmund Freud. People don't even know. This dude was trained in psychoanalysis. He worked with the top corporations and with the US government. These people are psychopaths. Their whole goal was to learn how to take large groups of people and get them to move in the same direction through celebrities, through commercials. So this social programming, there is no such thing as it's just entertainment in the modern world. All entertainment has some level of programming to it. That's why it's called network programming. You ain't ever thought it's a network of programming you to move in a certain way. And it's a soft sell. And it's been a science and a perfected science for at least 100 years now. But brothers want to step in. Oh, it doesn't matter if I get on here and tell lies. But then 20 years in the future, you'll be complaining about the same things that you were complaining were happening yesterday. But then the same guys will come along 20 years later and say, oh, it's just entertainment. I just had to get my money, not knowing the kind of damage that you can do to impressionable minds. If you read Edward Bernays and you read some of that psychoanalysis material, man, people have very malleable minds, way more than we think. And if they put their trust in someone that's a speaker or someone that's supposed to be an advocate for them, it's easy to sway more immature minds and more naive people. And that's where the self-policing comes in. That's why I'm not going for this bullshit about you can do whatever it takes as long as you make money. Because if that's the case, you can't have a society. No society can function that has no standards of regulation and ethics. There has to be some level of order, some level of ethics and regulations for a society to function. And if it wants to be very successful, it can't be hypocritical in the way that it applies its regulation. So when you hear dummies say things like that, these are people that are incapable of self-government, self-management, or self-policing. And then they want to blame white men for keeping your ass in a slave position. Motherfucker, you think like a slave. You are a slave. In mind, body, and soul, because you will never take responsibility for anything. You live like a parasite, and every other group looks as you as a parasite. And at some point in the future, other groups are going to look on Black people and say, we're going to crush these insects completely because they offer nothing to the ecosystem. And then what are you going to do on that day? You can only complain about white supremacy for so long. The white supremacists that run shit, they didn't get into that position by accident. They had a code, they had a systematic way of seeing things, and they were willing to pull rank on their own in order to get the goals that they wanted. You can only use that argument for so long before the other group starts saying, this group of people is useless to society. Let it burn and let them burn with it. I don't want to be there on the day where other societies get together and say, we're going to crush these insects and parasites. They offer none to the ecosystem. The clock is ticking on us as Black men. And you better take responsibility for yourself.
This is why I say it's vitally important that you start that you can't save all these other entities. You have to be on the ground floor of this opportunity of rebuilding this shit without all these fucking problems around you. It has to be without all these problems around you. Because at this point in time, there is no reason to be negotiating with anybody. Everybody know what the experience of Black people have been within this fucking country. So to sit here and make it look like you got to renegotiate with a motherfucker on how to act within your house, man, get the fuck out of here. I'm not doing that shit. At all.
Especially when they serve as the worst examples of negotiation.
No doubt. No doubt. Hey, Yolanda, what's going on, man?
What's up, fam? How you doing?
I just want someone to point to me one institution of value and success in society that existed without some form of regulation, a minimum level of regulation, ethics, and integrity and self-police. Just someone in the chat panelists, point to me one
Mhm.
institution that's been able to function like that without some kind of way of solving problems and maintaining order. Just give me one example.
Hey, I don't think you're gonna find any, brother. I don't think so.
So where the hell does this idea that you're going to be able to save everyone or let everyone in the door come from? It can only be a feminine mentality, because every organization I've ever encountered had certain rules. You want to work in corporate America? They're going to tell you all kinds of rules. Some corporations I've been in, they tell you how you got to wear your facial hair and your hair on your head.
Mm-hmm.
Some institutions that you go into, you got to wear a uniform. There's certain prerequisites and basic standards that you got to meet to even get an opportunity to get through the door. So I don't even, I'm just looking at you like, you're going to have some kind of standards. You're going to have some kind of way of including people and excluding people.
Mhm.
It's not going to
Exactly.
be this kumbaya shit. It's not going to happen. We had one moment like that where it happened, and look at where we've been. That was a civil rights era.
Yep.
That was that opportunity. Now it's
And
a
we
whole
lost.
other world now.
Yep. And here's the thing, though: the people who complain the most about us trying to have standards, I mean, it's to their detriment. They're co-conspirators of their own demise, because you try to tell them about standards and how good it is to have standards. They'll accuse you of acting white, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of us have just said, "Fuck it, I'm leaving. I'm out of here."
Yeah, I laugh at that, because to back up what you're saying, Lion, we're now at the point where even the white liberals are saying, if you believe in those kind of things like, order, mathematics, philosophy and things, they say even the white liberals now are getting on board with it, saying you're white. Those are white values. And then the dumb black idiots that have given them the pathway to make this a mainstream argument now, they don't even realize that they're actually saying to you that you're actually inferior. You're actually agreeing with people telling you that you're inferior at a time when white people are failing across the board and being surpassed by Asians now.
Yep.
I was looking at some of these scores for science and mathematics. Asians are lapping everyone now. Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, China.
Exactly. Yeah, they're killing. Yeah,
Lapping the white boys.
Exactly. They're killing them. Yeah, they're killing them. And I think like the only black people that are actually doing some damage in the science field right now and actually doing good right now, I think, are Nigerians. But I don't know. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know something.
No, you're not wrong on that, because I was actually with Dr. Phoenix. We were having a conversation about this, probably doing a panel in the future about what's going on with medical school as an example. So we were looking through some of the top universities for medical school, looking for black students. We looked at one program at Stanford University, right? There was not one ADOS black person in their whole medical school program. The only black people that were in there was a Ghanaian woman and a Nigerian man. Think that through for a minute. One of the most, the highest ranked medical schools in the country didn't have one ADOS person in their distinguished program in medical school. And these are going to be like your future surgeons. He was telling me that these people make on average of like $750,000 to $1 million a year. But there was not one ADOS black man or black woman at the prestigious level. And yet you got these idiots that get together in spaces that are trying to be constructive, that are trying to transmit information to other brothers, and they want to keep lowering the bar, and don't even know that you're only setting a fence around you and putting a different kind of prison block around other black men. Because we're getting lapped out here, man. There wasn't one ADOS person at Stanford Medical School when we looked at it, man. It was only two blacks, and they were both foreigners, a black dude from Nigeria and a black woman from Ghana. They don't have no connection to this American experience, but yet they get to come into those universities because you're too busy over there fighting each other, telling you what you can't do as black men and how you should keep your standards low. And these are white values, not even knowing that those schools are getting filled up with Asians and more foreign Asians. I just don't see why no one sees how this is going to look in 10 years. I'm not even talking about 20 years in the future. If you have nothing but foreigners in these schools, and then you have Asian Americans who are only 3% of the American population, but they represent like 50% of the fucking Ivy League student population, what do you think that this country is going to look like in a decade? These people don't care about no black Americans. You people are going to be washed away, and the black men that have came here and stayed on that constructive mentality, they'll be looking at you 10 years from now like I tried to tell them. But they didn't want to listen.
Exactly. They didn't want to listen to us. Like all the power. Here's the thing: all the constructive brothers, all the power brokers, so to speak, they all got accused of acting white. All got clowned and bullied, and just It's stupid. It's like shooting yourself in the foot with a magnum.
Yeah, I mean, but but this is where we at though, and
Yep.
we got to be able to
Sadly.
survive.
Yeah, we have to.
I'm not worried. I don't go around being
Yeah.
all that concerned anymore. It has nothing to do with me, and I don't give a shit.
It's a shame.
At this point in time, we're in the recovery period.
Yes, I agree with. I agree. Yep, I agree with everything you say. I mean, our survival comes first, 100%.
I just told someone the other day, they were asking me, like, what do you, how you think the whole presidential thing gonna go? And I'm like, look it, man, here's the thing. Whatever way to go, the next person that's gonna run for president in 2024 is gonna be like Latinos in both parties. And this person tried to argue, no, I don't think. I said, bro, have you actually looked at the information on who becomes president? 80% of the time, those that become president are pulled from the Senate or governorship. The other 20% is pulled from former presidential administrations. No one has ever been president of the United States that didn't come from one of those two pools of talent. And I said, just go look at who the black senators are. The only two black senators you have is Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, and she's getting her shot right now. And if that doesn't go, she's done. So then the only black senator you got on the Democrat side would be Cory Booker. The other black senator is Tim Scott. But then the rest of the senators and governors are Latinos. There's no black governors in America right now. So the only place they would pull from would be the last place, which is the less likely, former administrations. And there's no one on the bench. So I told them, what y'all don't understand, these Latins are gonna most likely gonna have a Latin Democrat and a Latin Republican running in 2024. And after that, it's over for you Negroes, man. It's a wrap. Your issues are no longer a mainstream issue. Even now, they can't bring themselves to talk about issues that reflect Native Black Americans. Because I think Native Black Americans, to a lot of people, we're like an abused child that they just want to die. You know what I'm saying? Because they abused this child, and then the child became an abuser, and they just want the problem to go away. So I'm telling people right now, when he asked me, I said, bro, you better go do your research. There ain't no black governors. So that means that the only place they can pull black talent from in politics in 2024 is going to be the Senate. Black people have already told you we're not going for Cory Booker. The black Republicans are still less than 20%. So guess what? That means that Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, the chick that's a Democrat from Vegas, Catherine Castro-Masto, she was actually, people don't know this, she was the last candidate along with Kamala Harris. Joe Biden was about to pick a Latina. She's a freshman senator in Nevada right now. Look her up, Catherine Castro-Masto. She's one of these white Latinas, but she said, this isn't my chance. Let the quote unquote biracial chick get it. So they said, you know what? We're gonna throw this bone to these blacks so we can shut them up. And then once they get this last shot, we're taking our focus to Latins. And I just don't think people see that these Latinos and these Asians, they have positioned themselves for the next 25 to 50 years already. They're already
to fucking replace you. Again, tell Sigma, we called it, we told you it was gonna be with Kamala Harris. They were like, no way. I said, look, bro, it's a reverse Obama ticket again. And like you said, man, blacks, we keep telling you guys this in this space. You've been replaced by the alternative lifestyle community. You've been replaced by the Latino community, bro. And even women now come first. The feminist agenda comes first before black people. The only reason why there's any type of residuals from it is because black females buy to feminism so heavy. So like you said, man, and we still have this on our back, bro. You got a 30-year time period left, people, of where you know, that 2053, right? Where black people are going to be pretty much like economically impoverished and slave level of what they're predicting in 30 more years. What the hell is 30 years, bro? And again, what we got kids out here, we got grown men out here that's reading at a 4th grade fucking reading level. Again, bro, y'all, it's too much playing to be going around. That's what kills me, man. Brothers talk about, oh, we oppressed, we're this, and white supremacy and all this other shit. But what the hell are you doing? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing, bro, to better yourself, to get you out of this position that's literally like this is a whole motherfucking army against you, man, and niggas out here playing, bro, like it's a game.
I don't know. Didn't you call that parental oppression? Is that really? I think that's more like what you just described. Sounds more like parental oppression. I just think it's funny that we treat parenthood, fatherhood, and motherhood as a fucking game.
Yeah, we take it for granted, and we shouldn't do that. It's dangerous.
it's very dangerous to play with Parenthood. With, like you said, fourth grade level reading level for the average 18-year-old black. This is embarrassing, bro.
That's terrible, man.
Like,
God.
it makes you just-
Yeah, but what you have to do is turn this thing around, but just choosing other people who actually have the value system that's going to be able to help you with it. The people right here, right now, they obviously don't have that value system. All right, that's where we're at, and that's just the way it's going to be. You know, you're just going to have to partner up with people who are either exhibit the actual fucking track record of doing so, or they can be outright fucking replaced. You know, you can't be sitting here trying to wonder if this shit is going to fucking work or not.
Nah, it ain't
If
gonna.
they haven't been cultured to be what the fuck they supposed to be, then I'm not gonna sit here and try to do anything with anybody who doesn't exhibit that. And I don't have to be around and I don't have to respect anybody who does. I mean, they've had their chance, they had their opportunity. The only thing we need to do is just make sure these motherfuckers go to the ICC, the International Criminal Court, and put these motherfuckers on some goddamn charges, man. So you can't be having these motherfuckers repeatedly doing this shit and bragging about it.
Exactly.
I'm at a loss when it comes to that MOT at this point. Like I've done enough research on my own. I've had enough conversations with brothers like yourselves, and I'm telling you, man, I just really have come to believe that most cats have no idea how far gone this shit really is. Because these schools, that's where so much of the corporate power comes from. The business schools, the medical schools are more and more not independent. They're actually run by corporations now. It's quite a lot of these doctors are actually corporate now. So whoever's running the corporations over the next decade, in my government agencies that I've worked for, right? I remember there used to be a couple black females there. There was never really any black men ever in the whole time I've worked in government or corporate, right? But I've noticed over the last 5 years before COVID that those black women are no longer there. And
they're not.
They're not there. The older black men that when I came in, there was some older brothers that I knew that gave me insight, but they're all retired now. And since then, all I've seen come in is Asians, and it trips me out.
Asians and Latinos.
They're not even barely any Asians in my state like that, but yet in every job I get, damn near half of the employees in these kosher, well-paying jobs are all Asian now, and I see how they hire each other. I see they will hire each other, bro, even if they're unqualified. Because I knew a chick that was like one of the managers on an extra shift that I took one time, and I talked to her. She had no experience in the government agency, and anyone that works in government knows it's almost impossible to get into a government agency unless you know someone that works there. You got to
connect. You got that veteran's preference. Yep.
That's it.
Or they need a temporary. I got in luckily through temp work because they needed some temporary analysts to do revenue stuff. And that's how I got my first foothold in government at that time. Otherwise, I would still be in corporate America because it's almost impossible to get in because people stay in these jobs for 20, 30 years. And I noticed this chick, she told me straight out, I have no government experience. It was someone she knew higher up that got her the job as a manager over people who had way more experience specifically in the job that she was managing them over. But that's just the way that they think. They're like, hey, we're going to get our own people in here and we'll learn on the job, because most jobs anyways, as quiet as kept, are actually learning on the job. As quiet
experience. You learn
from actually being on a job. So what is happening now, Black people are running up against this because they're so concentrating on all these other groups' issues or not being realistic about what's really going on. They're playing games, talking about, well, it's all about entertainment. All niggas want to do is do a jig. You know what it is? It's like those.
Exactly, man. You want to be a damn you want to be minstrels? Yep. Just fucking sorry. Yep.
It's like the whole minstrel thing with Fiddler and shit and Roots. It's embarrassing to know that now in 2020, you got brothers out here arguing on who's gonna be the biggest banjo player for $1 while the whole fucking society burns down around them.
Yep. Like you said, man, they don't even know the game as far as like, bro. I think they said upwards of 70% of jobs are gotten through nepotism. So what does that mean? So
there you go. See that? Yeah.
If you have nobody at the top levels, how do you expect? And then, like you say, you have this influx of even other cultures, and then you got these stupid ass Black women and these simp ass niggas that are buying into this POC bullshit, this person of color shit. Though these people are coming here to a country that, again, y'all niggas love to talk about, you know, oh, we helped build this, we did this, we did it, we deserve reparations and all this shit, but yet and still you're gonna give away a title, and you're gonna buy in a title that eliminates your special qualities and the fucking blood that's been paid for this very country by calling yourself a person of color, like motherfucking Asians and Hispanics that are even illegally here. That's what I'm saying. People don't even understand what the fuck you're doing, bro. You literally asking for yourself to be replaced by people that don't even have the right to be here. When you
exactly.
when you
Like dumbass Bowling Ball Martin.
Exactly, man.
Bowling Martin is a fucking joke.
Exactly. It's like because once here's the thing though, and once it happens, they bar the door to employment. It's gone. You see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that getting a government job even before this COVID, it was always a difficult thing, man. And anyone that's ever been in government understands that if you go from corporate to government, it's like going from like a borough in New York to like a Paradise Beach in terms of how much more easier the work is, how much more laid back it is compared to corporate America. And that's why people do, even though the pay scale is probably in most of the jobs going to be like 15 to 20% less, but in some it's actually more, but in most it'll be a little bit less. But it's because of the union and how strong it is, man, you get in one of those jobs, you got a kid, you can set up your children, cousins, and all type of different people to get along in that pipeline to getting those jobs. Because I'm seeing a lot of people that are boomers now, they're all leaving, and their children who are in their 20s and 30s now are coming into the same position. Even though
see that?
There's a little bit of a shrinking of the government, the positions that are available, they're going to people's relatives. I just sometimes I just be like, dude, why am I the only one I feel sees what's happening? I mean, there ain't no other black.
Trust me, you're not the only one.
They're not even getting these jobs. These brothers ain't getting these jobs in corporate America or the government now, man. They're getting the only service level, Amazon, Walmart, and shit like that. That's the jobs they're getting. I'm just being honest with you. When you read at a 4th grade level, that's the kind of job that you're setting yourself up for. To be an orange picker. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? To be a stock boy. Because if you read at a 4th grade level, in an age when it's going to be more of a transhumanist kind of workplace where you're integrated with the technology, almost everything you do is working with like artificial intelligence, coding and shit. Your options are going to be very limited over this next decade.
Oh yeah, it is, man. And that's why it's another thing that I don't like. Neither is the fact that a lot of them are intellectually lazy, and I'm like, I hate that.
Explain.
Intellectually lazy, where you ask them to read this or study this, and they look at you like you stupid, or who you talking to? I said, I can't.
That's not gonna happen. You might as well give up on that. Like I've seen some of the numbers. I mean, you already heard what Mr. Fantastic said about the reading level at a 4th grade level. You're not going to be able to convince men that are 30 years old, 35, 40, who their child reads at a higher level than them.
Exactly.
It's just not going to happen because that's too much shame for them. Like, that whole shame thing is too embarrassing for them to admit that that they need to go back to school. They need to go back to like remedial class at the community college. They're just too ashamed to do it, man. And they're going to just suffer because of it.
Exactly. A lot of them will lash out. I remember one guy was about to damn near lash out. I mean, this guy 50 years old, and he can't count. I said, how the fuck did that happen?
Wow.
God.
You'll be surprised how many people have been getting over like that over the last couple of generations. Man.
Yep.
The welfare state was big enough that it was letting a lot of people slide through the cracks. Like when I heard that these schools were getting rid of tests and things like that, standardized tests, I said, we have really entered into like a dystopian moment, man, because people don't understand. It's a lot of black folks that were actually able to get ahead and get into the middle class because of those standardized tests.
Yeah.
So once you lower the standards, this is what these fools are thinking. They're thinking, oh, okay, if we get these schools to lower the standards, we'll get in. No, dummy. Because when you take away the standard objective element of admissions, now it becomes very subjective now. And guess what? Legacy has always been the strongest subjective factor in admissions, getting into jobs and universities. It's always been legacy. So if someone has more, for example, let's say you want to get into a school and now they don't have the standardized numbers. So let's say that the number is 10 for admissions. Now they get rid of that. Now it's just all subjective. Guess who benefits? Those that come from the social capital strong societies, because they can go to their uncle who's an accountant or their auntie who's a computer scientist and get a letter of recommendation. What the fuck do you got?
Exactly.
You can't get any of that. So
you can't get none of that. But you want to get rid of the one thing that helps you because you want to be able to say, oh, well, we got rid of the standardized test because it discriminates against dumb people. That's literally the argument that they're making right now is that the
God.
I know in California they got rid of that. So King Sigma is correct on that. And also Sigma, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm in a process right now trying to become a political analyst. They just sent me a 8 questionnaire. So I'm gonna end up doing that today. Hopefully I'll get a job interview with them. Then I'll be able to start as a political analyst pretty soon.
Awesome. Do your thing. More power to you. Yeah. Do your thing. Yeah. Do your thing.
You got it, man. Go ahead. Go ahead and finish.
Keep it up.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for real, man. So the only thing we're doing in this actual chat is actual being realistic with where the fuck we are, because that's something that was been missing from this whole entire scenario the entire time, is not being realistic for where the fuck we actually are. And this is why people who want to parasite off the environment don't give a fuck about the future, because they're not going to be in that quote unquote field any fucking way. But you have to realize that that's those people, that's not you, and you're going to have to operate like everybody else, because that's where you're going to be competing at. Where those people are at, you're not going to be able to compete for that particular job where they are. So don't expect those standards to fall where they are to actually include you. So that's the thing that people have to get, because different things are going to take different ways to get there, and you're just not going to be able to team with most of these people in order to get there.
Yeah, it's like
that's why that whole leveling up thing is. That's why that leveling up.
oh my God! Oh God! Leveling up. I don't want to hear that. Oh God!
I was thinking about that leveling up propaganda, right, and trying to find like a good analogy for it. Like, so imagine like there was like a captain of like a ship and shit, right? And the captain went to sleep. And
I mean, you know, it's the original PPP loan, the pussy prosperity preachers. That's
So you got this leveling up thing, right? Like, so let's say you had like a co-pilot and a pilot and a co-pilot, right? So the one of the pilots said, I got to take a nap. And then the other pilot been talking good shit the whole time. Like, you know, you never let me fly the plane. I never get a chance to show my skills. And if I say, you know what, this is your chance to fly the plane. So for like 25, 30 years, these misandrists have been flying the plane, right? And they done flown that bad boy right into a mountain. And right when it's about to hit the mountain, they got like the leveling up propaganda tells you that there's an emergency parachute that when this plane crashes, now there ain't really a parachute there, but the person that's just been going off of their trust of the person that's been selling this idea, right? And then the moment it's about to crash, they go there and they find there's no chute there. That's what I think of when I think about that leveling up thing, because it's like you got people that were like steering the black community and steering black boys and black girls for the last 40 years. And now that they found out that they weren't as good as a pilot they thought they were, and now that the trajectory is that everyone on the plane is going to die and crash, now they're looking for that parachute. So here comes the prosperity pimp or pimptress with this idea that there's a parachute there. But guess what? By the time you go to reach for that parachute, it's gone. And that's what's happening now. These women, they think, damn, they're looking at part of what they destroyed. My choices. I listen to some of these videos where they're talking about the white male worship stuff, right? And it's like none of these white men are gonna come save them, but they've been told that now that everything is burning up, now you can get that white parachute is waiting for you. And guess what? They finding out more and more as we get more and more information that hits the mainstream. It was a lie. All of that shit was an illusion.
Exactly. There was no parachute.
There was never a parachute there in the first place, but your trust. And black people got to get out of this just blindly trusting people. That's one of the reasons why I left the Black Christian church, because I refuse to just blindly follow leaders instead of the actual message itself.
Exactly. Even the scripture says, "Don't trust not thine enemies." I'm like, they don't read. I can't. This is gonna make my head hurt.
No, they don't. They follow things blindly.
Yeah, but here's the problem, King Sigma. They didn't follow it blindly. They followed it because they thought they was going to get something out of it without verification.
No verification at all.
I mean, so they did it for a specific reason. That's fine. It's just that there's a lot of people not going to make it, and I'm fine with that too. It's just that, look, we have to be able to get our own shit together as black men. This is why this is a black man's channel. So that way we can move black men forward. We can't worry
Yep.
about pandering to all these other groups because they don't do shit for us really.
Nothing.
And
Ain't no barely. I've been thinking more and more about that. Like, as a black man, I literally feel that we are the footstools of society, and people think that we're just on some real dummy mode, and they can tell us anything. That's why I'm enjoying this whole election, man, because more and more, the last 60 days, I've been noticing everyone wants to talk to the black male invisible voter now.
Here
All
we
of a
go again.
sudden,
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
everyone
That's
wants to
it.
talk to him, but for the
Yeah,
last
that's it. Yep.
35 years, we've just been painted as like the
Yes, sir.
degenerate pinata,
Yep.
and everyone is in on it. But now
Yeah.
all of a sudden,
You want to talk?
the polls start looking a little bit different
Yep.
than they did 12 months
Yep.
ago.
Yep.
18
That's
months.
it. Yep. That's that fear and desperation sitting in. Yep. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
because it's about power. It's
Yep.
there's
about who is going
nothing
to get
they
what
can be able to
resources.
do about that because it's nothing you're gonna be able to do. Because most of these people, even if they go over there to vote for them 100%, they still ain't gonna do shit for them either. I mean, the whole
Exactly. It's not
point
gonna move the needle. Exactly.
was never to do anything for us, and so now you can't depend on moving this group of people one way or the other when the plan has always been never to do shit for these group of people.
Never.
I don't
We
know.
had the utility belt.
I don't know how they ever was going to get this shit done. I don't know, man.
It was never supposed to get done, bro. I'm telling you, man, we are the utility belt of American society, man. I really believe that. Like, we're only to be used for other people's purposes, never for anything that uplifts and powers ourselves. As black men, you should be ashamed of yourself that in 2020, there is rarely an ADOS black man represented in law school, medical school, and these business schools.
Yeah, but we
Almost
don't have
all-
control over that. We don't have
Exactly.
control over that. The women had
Exactly.
control over the trajectory of the family. That's why I'm saying at the end of the day, you have to choose people who understand the trajectory of the family. And that's unfortunately not the people who are here. Okay? They sat back, they let the shit happen the way that it happened. They didn't really say shit, and there ain't really nothing we could do about it. It's just like, look, I'm sorry that that's the case, but we have to look at the facts on the ground. You walk in believing this prosperity pussy gospel shit, and you're going to bring one of these infected motherfuckers right back into the goddamn base camp. Because you
And it's
didn't
gonna
pay
happen.
attention to the goddamn track record.
Oh, they're not gonna touch that. They're not gonna touch that.
Yeah, been at you.
They're not
Oh,
touching
nah.
because I've been
They ain't
waiting.
touching that.
Man, every day I find out some story about one of these dudes infecting these queens, and
Oh yeah, man. Me too. I'm on that shit. I'm on that shit too. And this whole and that whole thing about these about them searching for a high value man, those are high value targets. So when these failed swirlers come back to the community with HIV and all this other nasty shit, that high value target, that's the first person they're gonna go for. They're gonna try to crawl up under him.
It's kind of demoralizing. Like, I don't know if you guys are
Yeah.
familiar with that term, demoralization.
Not really. I mean,
And that shit is.
I've heard of
I
it.
feel like that MOT, but for me, I'm gonna tell you why I feel demoralized, because I actually was a late comer to this knowledge of these women being so treacherous and traitorous to black men. I'm not gonna lie. It's only in the last 5 years that I really became knowledgeable about this worship of white men by these women who are supposed to be, you know, the quote unquote backbone and the transmitters of culture, all that.
Oh, yeah.
I was so blind in my life that it wasn't really until the last few years that I really come to realize how big it was after looking at this data. When I was listening to a Black Ram, he mentioned something that many of us have mentioned before, but he had a stream. He was talking about something that, you know, with the online dating thing, right? And we've talked about that in these spaces before as well, where the number one user on these online datings that was looking to date out were American Black women and Black women.
Yep.
And I'm looking at this shit, and I'm talking about this study was like one of the biggest studies, OkCupid Tinder, right? They said that of all the users on the platform, it was actually Black women who were trying to date out at the highest rate, but they were the least desirable. So what does that tell you? Now remember, dating online is anonymous, right? It's something that you do on your smartphone or on your PC, right? So that means that these women may be in relationships with Black men in their real life, but in the shadows, it's actually the Black woman who is trying the hardest to get away from her ethnic, quote unquote, designated partner, right?
Exactly.
That to me is some demoralizing shit when I see black men actually fighting each other over a woman who has made it clear to the greater society that she's not on your team. Matter of fact, she's looking for that parachute. She don't care if you go down with the plane that she was flying. She's looking for her parachute off that motherfucker. And these women, dude, when you look at the studies, and this is their white daddy that are putting out these studies. This is their white mommy that is telling the public, these women, they could be married to a black man. They could be in a relationship with a black man. Maybe they're single. Maybe they had kids or whatever with a black man. But that same woman is looking to get away from those men. And it's just that those women are not choosing her. But if those men said yes, there would be no black American population tomorrow. If they wanted to give the entire black American population tomorrow, all they would have to do is just assign every poor white man in America 2 black women. Them bitches is out of here, bro. They're gone.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Oh yes. That would happen. And have you read Doors of the Trade? Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing, man. It's just that this is why your choice matters. Your choice should have the track record of what has went on as part of choice. Me, I don't even worry about it. It's a far gone conclusion. You have to be in the 0.00001% for me even trusting any of these motherfuckers at this point. You know, hi, bye, online relationships is cool. End of the day, you're not gonna be able to actually vet past a post hoc rationalization that's gonna help her every single time. If you got that type of vet game, okay, all right. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, we seen what happened when these people carried the black family. They carried the black family into
all the way to the graveyard. Yep, all the way to the fucking graveyard. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they took us from like, you know, Cleveland Browns territory, and there ain't really shit you can do about that. And you know what? At the end of the day, they're not out here trying to change shit. They're trying to make it look like they're now coming together. They now understand what the fuck they did wrong. And I'm like, dude, listen. Let them have those discussions. Let them have those discussions while we make our own moves for our own best interest. Because black men could create black families.
Yes.
Black women could create black families. They would have already done so. They would have already done so with their choices. So all you have to do is leave them and the game niggas and the fucking pussy prosperity preaching motherfuckers. Just leave them the fuck alone. The people who don't want to have any standards, leave them the fuck alone too. Because this shit is going to be, it was started on a household by household basis, and it's only going to be fixed on a household by household basis. And there ain't shit you could be able to do with that. One choice that we could do will solve another. You know what? If they want to get out here, you know what? I want to see some ratchet pelts. You know what I'm saying? I want to see this fucking Batman Batcave full of fucking trophies of stuffed whores. You know what I'm saying? You know, you know, maybe they could do that for like the next 500 years, and you know, you get that trust back. But at the end of the day, there's really no reason for us to keep this up and thinking that this individual is going to turn their life around and do this shit just for us.
It's not going to work. Me neither. My hands are. My hands are clean. Yep, my hands are clean. I'm actually washed my hands of them a long time ago. And you know how? I mean, you know it's bad when even Taraji P. Henson is telling black men to stop calling themselves strong and independent.
You said what? You know, Taraji Henson said that. Yeah,
she was telling black women to stop saying that.
I'm shocked that.
Yep. I'm telling you, man, they feeling it. Yeah, they're feeling it.
Yeah, I think they gotta really be feeling someone like her, because you know that Hollywood, that's like the hotbed of a lot of that radical feminism. So
yeah, I mean, you know, she got money now, so she can now be reasonable. But she didn't get there by being reasonable. She got there by playing certain type of roles and acting a certain type of way. That's what I'm saying. That it's almost like listening to like Jada Pinkett Smith talk. Get the fuck out! Like,
man, tell her, shit her up, boo, get out of here, get out of here.
Listening to Jada Pinkett Smith talk about fidelity or something like that.
Yeah, like,
fuck out of here.
I was having a conversation about that whole marriage thing, and the last time I did a stream, and I was trying to challenge people to tell me about, you know, you got all these prosperity pimps looking for whatever that will stick on the wall, and I said, it's funny, everyone talks about, well, we should, you know, go marry, you know, the woman that's been reformed. Yeah, she got 4 kids. Yeah, she got 100 body count. Yeah, she can't bond with you and all that. But you know, still marry these hoes, right? And I asked him, like, dude, I haven't heard one of you dudes say anything about the home wrecking laws yet, right? Because there's a reason why we have standards in corporations and society, because you've got to have some kind of minimum standards. And I was thinking about that whole home record law thing, right? There's only like 6 or 7 states that still have those laws, but all these guys that are always talking about this, you need to build and all this other bullshit, they never talk about bringing back the actual kind of rules and restrictions and regulations that actually allow
because apparently the G word is supposed to keep your woman in line, and your Chris mouthpiece is supposed to cut through her endless options of dick. Your mouthpiece is supposed to do that. If you're not depending on your mouthpiece, then you're just not man enough. So that's what we have with that.
I've never seen one of these dudes run game on the judge at the child support hearings, though. How many of these guys are playing the G on that judge that's sitting up there in that black robe that has his financial health and in some states his actual freedom itself? If you're in Wisconsin, they put your ass in prison. Why don't you run game on him?
That dude is sitting there, arms folded. He sit there and fucking break that fucking desk with the goddamn gavel. Like, what the fuck you think I was gonna say?
Exactly.
You start trying to run that shit on the judge. Bailiff, get him out of here. Get him out of here.
You say get his regular ass out of here. Yep.
Get his ass out of here. You know, that's like, and it's unfortunate the whole thing that happened with Jacob Blake. But again, same kind of shit right there. He thought game was enough to keep that black chick in check. Did he not? He was running game. I'm about to come alpha my way out of this situation. Guess what? He ends up in an unfortunate situation. Because he was trying to alpha his way out of the situation with his baby mom. But they don't talk about that though. They won't talk about that. They called the state. A black woman called the state on Jacob Blake because he was trying to, you know, enforce some kind of manhood in his household. But again, you brothers out here thinking you're going to say this shit, don't understand. You're not the man of your household in America. Neely Fuller talks about that. The state is the alpha male. The rest of us are not alpha males in an American system. We may want to say we are. You may be the strongest of the beta males, but in America, they've replaced the masculine male with the fucking state. That's why I was just reading about, they just got like another dude over some sexual assault. Who was it? It was a dude that just
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor,
yeah. He got his leopard. Yeah, the leprechaun.
Sexual assault, man.
Are you serious? Conor McGregor?
He's married. Yeah, he's married to you.
Sexual assault, bro.
He's married too. Yep.
And he's married all this shit, but he got all that money. You know what I'm saying? He
still did that shit.
Oh no.
Some female that put a case on Conor McGregor. Then it was a porn star dude, Ron Germany. He just got like 20 assault cases the other day.
Yeah, he got his ass too. Yep.
I mean,
man, he getting up out of there. Hey, man, they got Ron
Germany. He's finished, man. That motherfucker's fucking barbecue.
The state is the ultimate alpha male in America, and his best servant is that bitch. Because again, every time I look at the news, they done got another brother that's like some famous guy, rich dude, but he got like a case on him on sexual assault now. So Conor McGregor at the
what happened to Cuba Gooding Jr.'s case? What happened to his case?
Who's that, Cuba Gooding?
Yeah, not sure.
He's still on trial from what I remember. His case was dismissed. I thought he was still on trial.
Yeah,
I have to double check on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got to check it because Cuba, I don't think he beat his case, man. I think he's.
Yeah, me neither. No, I don't think he beat it either.
But what I'm saying is that why are these guys not able to alpha themselves out of this situation, use their game to get out of all these situations they're getting themselves? Dr. Dre, I just heard that his ex-broad, about to hit him
$2 million a month.
$2 million a month. $2 million a month. So where's all this alpha in your way? I got all this money out of this shit. Why, Johnny Depp, his case been going on for like 12 months or something, I think, man.
Mm-hmm.
And they got all the evidence that this woman was the perpetrator of a fraud and a crime, but yet he's losing millions by the day.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that. Like, we don't punish the women for anything. I'm like, the reason why that they don't let this shit go on in other societies is because women actually get punished for shit. And once you set up the actual system to where that's not going to happen to them, like, what do you think you're going to get? It's like, man, I don't know, man.
It's ugly now, bro. It's getting ugly, dude. When you see
it really is, yep.
That's why 50 Cent came out, and I gotta salute him on that because he's one of the few dudes that will actually speak. He said, look, the state is being used to destroy heterosexual men. He came out and said that, And ain't no one come to protect him when he said that. He went out on a limb because he sees that, yo, this shit is ugly. It's like you can just lose everything now over an accusation. And then, like MOT said, there's no punishment mechanism in place that the prosecutors are enforcing against the false accusers.
Not at all, man.
They could just make up.
That's what Donald Trump's doing right now with the college thing. So that needs to be across all levels. That's maybe the one reason why I would like to vote for him. But I kind of don't want to vote
college.
for him.
I mean, but regular law would actually trump that shit. For lack of a better word, it has to be other type of laws in place, man. Because like, dude, it's like a lot of these dudes don't understand. I guarantee you, somebody in this fucking space who is a dating coach within the next 2 to 3 years will be having a Me Too case.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
Got money.
It's gonna happen.
No. That shit.
If not
It's
that,
it will. Yeah,
that
it will
might just
happen.
be the beginning. I think it's going to also be, there's going to be a dating coach that we're aware of eventually, and sometime soon that's going to get with a civil suit from the FTC on like putting out information as if it's like scientific.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna happen.
That shit's coming
King
too.
Sigma, I fucking said it. I'm like, dude, y'all don't understand. This shit could be considered racketeering. I'm like,
yep.
Here's the thing that these dudes are lying about. Here's what these dudes never talk about. You can alpha yourself in the pussy all day. It's easy enough. Here's a problem. They have a new standard now called regret sex. Even if she consensually gives you the pussy, she can come on later and say, well, I really didn't want to do it. Look at what happened to that Indian guy, the comedian Ansari, where she just said she really didn't want to do it, but she never told him no, but she regretted it. And he wasn't filed no charges against him, but the cancel culture came from and destroyed his economic base. He was destroyed financially.
That don't make any sense.
It is crazy. How do you game yourself out of a woman that, even if you use something like just straight aggression and she agrees with it, she sees you at the bar, she wants to fuck you, you want to fuck me? She texts you. She can still come back later and say, I didn't really want to do it. I mean, this thing is getting ugly out here, bro.
Didn't you just sue her in the state for that shit, though?
No, you can't. What are you talking
That's
about?
bullshit.
Yeah, it is bullshit, but yeah, and let's say this.
Wait, hold on. Everybody calm down. The problem is you're fucked. So don't get upset about how fucked. Just know that you are. That the shit can change overnight. And when your ass disappears, you better disappear forever. Because if your ass on social media talking about how well your ass is doing, just like these dating coaches, I hope to hell they're lying about all the shit that they're actually doing. Because if they're not lying about the shit that they're doing, and they actually have done this shit, and then women can like come together behind like Gloria Allred, yeah, man, you motherfuckers are in some serious trouble.
Yep.
Serious trouble.
Yeah, it's some ugly shit. But it's funny how hypocritical it was with the Joe Biden stuff when he got hit with a case, though. That's what really disturbed me about this whole trend of accusations being taken as fact, is that the same women who are destroying all these other men in Hollywood, when it came to protecting Joe Biden in exchange for positions and influence and all that, they got rid of that whole standard, the Me Too standard. You haven't heard Me Too until recently. They kind of been talking about, but since the whole election really got heated in the last 3 months, they kind of disappeared into the backdrop. So it's going to be a hard trek to turn this shit around, because the standard is like, you could just be accused of some shit because she didn't get what she wanted. It could mean that maybe it could even be a good situation where maybe you had really good sex with her, but then the next week you don't return her calls, and a woman could just be so mad at you that she could put charges. So you actually, I mean, it's getting to that level. Like
exactly.
All right, okay.
Exactly, man.
Keep on ghosting these fucking chicks if you want to. All right, okay.
Yep.
That's how that works.
It's a lose-lose situation, man, because, before I get off, I would just lead the audience and MOT guys with this, man, because it's been something that I've been thinking about. That whole saying in politics is true about politics and power, where it says that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I would ask you, gentlemen, just keep that maxim from power in your mind when you look at a lot of shit going on in society right now, bro. Like, every system I've ever seen that works has some kind of checks and balances. And that whole thing works for a reason, because you give any entity, any group, any individual too much power, and the shit could be just so addictive that it overtakes their self-policing and ethical mechanism, and you end up like this. And this is what I think has happened with this whole radical feminism shit, that has been allowed to go on for so long without any punishments for the worst abusers of it.
Yeah.
And now it's almost like we're in a surreality now where people just can anything goes now, and there's no standard anymore on some wild, wild west shit for one side, but not the other
You know what's
side.
gonna happen?
Well, here's the thing,
Unfortunately, what's going to happen is each time one of these claims are made, these dudes just gonna go crazy and just fucking go ham. It's not even gonna fucking wait.
It's going to happen. Hence that whole thing called hockey mask time that a few brothers have put out content about. They call it hockey mask time.
Yeah, man, with that whole thing in Canada that I read about, with the case with the dude in Canada who he wasn't married to this woman. He was
I looked at that video.
I put out a video on that.
Still being forced to pay $50K a month.
Yep. And I told him. And the thing is, I told him.
Canada.
Yeah, exactly. I told him. Yep. And I told brothers, I said it happened in Canada, the country where single mothers sue their own children for child support.
Yeah.
What? Whoa.
Yep. Yeah, that actually happened. Man, I'm telling you, man.
And they said when I was listening to brothers talk about the marriage versus the cohabitation versus the common law, I said to these dudes, I'm like, look, you brothers really don't hear what's going on out here. The way that the feminists sees it, that the fact that so many men are getting all that free pussy under cohabitation, they're going to start trying to get things passed like just what happened at the judicial level in Canada. Everyone thinks that you got to go through the legislature to make law. No, you don't. Judges, they're not supposed to make law, but they make law every day with their decisions.
They're no longer a judge because they're practicing law from a bitch, which is illegal. That's I forgot which code that was, but I can look that up.
They're not supposed. All they're supposed to do is determine if a case is constitutional or unconstitutional. But just like what happened in Canada, the judge said, because they can, the way that they word shit, words are always open to whoever has the power to interpret them. In Canada, the judge said that even though you weren't married to her, even though you weren't cohabitating with her, it was an implication that you were going to offer her a certain lifestyle. That's enough charges. But I ain't heard really anyone talking about it.
Yep. That's 54. That's 50. Yep, that's $54,000 a month for 10 years.
Do you got the name of the case line? Because I think MOT, he probably ain't read about it yet, but it just happened like man.
So
it was
in
Ontario. Yep.
Okay, so you mean to tell me if you quote unquote use game, walk in with your mouthpiece and said all this crazy ass shit.
Yep.
Technically, you could be taken to court and made to deliver.
None of that shit's gonna save you, bro.
On promise.
Exactly.
Because okay, in America, we only have like 6 or 7 states that have legal common law, right? But if you're not in those states, they don't apply the common law standard. But what the Canada thing shows is that precedent can be broken even if you're not in a common law state now, because the judge, and we got more, this is where it gets scary. You have more women in law school now than men now. So guess what? 10 years from now, how long will it be before one of these American feminists?
Shit, 5 years from now. 5 years from now.
It won't be long before one of these women using the Canada model, because again, it's the conservative constitutionalist that says that American law applies to American law. But these other judicial jurist types, they don't believe that. They believe that you can take laws from other nations and apply them to America. So my question comes, how long before one of these radical feminist type judges looks at the Canada case and say, you know what? There's a lot of women that are not getting the ring. They're cohabitating with these men who are getting all this free pussy. They need to be compensated for all the free pussy they're giving to these men who are leaving them with children, getting the pussy or without children, and just bouncing. We're going to put some kind of restraints on the male. See, brothers were like, man, that'll never happen here. You dudes have not been paying attention.
Blind, deaf, and dumb.
Exactly. Cohabitation is on the docket. Cohabitation is on the docket, and you brothers better wake up to don't marry her, but you could just lay up with her, get the pussy.
Nope. That shit's dead.
They about to come after the cohabitation. Men benefit from cohabitation, not the women, because it's a great deal. You get to get in-house pussy, tired of it, and bounce. They don't want you doing that. These radical feminists, they don't want you to be able to have that power. They want to take away all your masculine power and give it to women. So that shit is coming. Man, you need to read that case, MOT, because that blew me away. I was like, what? I mean, this dude is being forced to pay $50,000. He didn't live with her. He didn't marry because it was the judge standard now is if there's an implication that you're gonna take care of the woman. So that means you can running game. Hey,
Yep.
Hell no.
now this is where this is where I actually agree with ARC on this. If you're not going, now I know MOT, but
with mode 1 and keeping your intentions pretty pure. Hey, I guess ARC should be marketing this mode 1 book based on this fucking case. I would.
Because I'm telling you right now, bro, if you imply to a woman, like let's say you're running game, as these niggas say, right? And you tell a bitch something like, you know, you get with me, I'm gonna put you on, we can get to the top, right? Because you know the game niggas think shit like that. Now in Canada, you tell a bitch that gives you the cohabitation access, and you tell her something, some kind of promise. Maybe she got a text where you told her, hey, babe, I'm gonna take you to Cancun next week. Just do such and such.
Oh God!
That you imply, like you can't, like if you tell her things like you're gonna give her a baby now, anything you promise her and don't deliver on now, it don't matter if you're married to her anymore. It can be taken as an implication of establishing a familial matrimonial relationship with this woman now based on that Canadian case. So
yeah, well, you're gonna bring like a Super Bowl to the Cleveland Browns, a fucking championship to the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah. So these game dudes better be on alert because the little shelter that they've been using, and again, I've been a user of cohabitation. That's how I can tell you for a fact that I loved it because I like it when I can just come and go and get what I want them out. But the feminists, they don't want you having that kind of freedom as a man. And the Canadian judge now has established a precedent. And it's going to be a feminist judge here in America, more than one of the liberal states like California. Yep. Mark my words, in the next year, and it's gonna be some dude who he thought he had money. Because again, we're in the sugar daddy culture now, right? Now here's where the sugar daddies are gonna get in trouble.
Oh, they gonna get hit real hard. They gonna get barbecued, man. Oh God.
The sugar daddies are in trouble for real.
God.
That long-term tricking is these dudes about to get hit for the lick because think about it. Yeah, if you look at the way that the judge. The way that she worded it, it's like if there's any kind of implication that you give this woman that you are going to take care of her in a long-term way. Now remember, prostitution is illegal in 49 jurisdictions in America, but we know that they're trying to decriminalize the female side of it, but not the John side of it. Here's where these get caught up in the trap. If you get into one of these seeking arrangements, sugar daddy relationships with a woman, now it won't be long before she could say that this man was taking care of me under our sugar daddy illegal relationship, but I believe I should be receiving some kind of alimony, some kind of cohabitation alimony. That shit is coming, and you brothers better you gotta be sharp out here, man, because they're coming.
You got to, man.
All kind of laws that like, I mean, this dude had to pay $50K a month for a certain time just because he was cohabitating. He was in like, I guess, a sugar baby kind of relationship with the woman.
God damn, my boy ARC is laughing at this motherfucker, man.
I gotta tip my hat to ARC on that one. And one thing ARC is right on. And I say y'all go get mode 1, support ARC on this because hey, I hate to say it, but the brother is right about you. You better off just being straight up with chicks moving forward. All this bullshit game about lying to hoes is gonna get a lot of dudes in a lot of trouble going forward because again,
God damn, man, it's gonna get fucked up out here.
You know, man, they gonna get fucking barbecued, man, blown the fuck out.
You've been enjoying this cohabitation game for a good 20 years now, and now the feminists is looking at that shit like, yo, getting too much pussy out here.
Yep, high value target, man. Juicy target. Yep.
So it's gonna happen in New York or California. Mark my word. One of these little.
I see. I wager, yeah.
You gonna be like,
I wager.
How long were you with her? Oh, we were together for about 3 years. Oh, you didn't get married to her? No, I didn't even live with her. I had my own apartment. She had her own apartment, but you were together for 3 years, right? And the girl, you know these bitches be having receipts now, right? She gonna have all receipts that she done gave the judge, like he was seducing me and he was running game on me and he told me he was gonna do this, he was gonna give me a car, he was gonna give me an apartment, all that. And the judge would be like, oh, we got the evidence now. So yeah, you say you're gonna get her this.
Yep.
Okay, how much? Yep. Well, I make $150,000. Yeah, you're gonna have to pay her alimony for the next 5 years. $5,000.
Yeah, be like, you did make $150,000.
Yep. I tell you, I wager. Yeah, I wager. Yeah,
gonna give you this case before I get off for MOT, so you'll know what case is. But you gotta read this. Like I was looking at this case, and then in Europe, they got a law over there now, and I believe it's in the UK now, where a man can't force a woman to get a DNA test for a child. She has to do it voluntarily on her own.
Yep.
Germany.
Germany.
What? Again, more bullshit.
Yep. Yes, in Germany. Yep. They got in Germany.
Germany too?
Hey,
Yep.
hey, I was at Quest Diagnostic doing a, like the quarterly random, and I read in there that 15% of people who tested their fucking kid was not theirs, man. And this is like Quest Diagnostics with the little swabby in the fucking mouth shit, bro.
I've seen in some other countries higher numbers, closer to 40%, man.
Woo!
Shit.
Oh!
Ouch! Ouch!
What the fuck is that?
Ouch!
I'm gonna be honest.
Oh!
I'm gonna be honest. I think that most of the male population in the West has been castrated, man. I really believe that.
Good God!
It's like we men.
That sound like acupuncture with like motherfucking Gerber, like swords.
Oh,
Like men are it's like men are sitting back and watching all this stuff happen, but they're not really doing anything about it. Because again, how do you get to pass a law that allows for women to be protected if a man who he's supposed to have rights in his child too, you can't require her to get a DNA test, and that's considered domestic violence. They're coming up with laws every day that are so extreme. It's just ridiculous. Like you can't tell a wife to get off Facebook in some countries now. I know in London, if you tell your wife, yeah, like in London.
I'm telling you, man. Oh shit! I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
Law. They've codified it into law now that if you, let's say your wife is spending a lot of time on social media, and you tell her, you can't use social media. That's a form of domestic violence now in the UK.
God damn.
So what power do you?
So that treat that like a dragon punch from like Street Fighter because you told the bitch to get the fuck off the internet?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because now because what they've done. See, we're in this culture where they always want to make everything a social construction, right? So they say,
yeah,
the reality that they're constructing is that physical violence is the same as psychological violence. This is what they're selling. So if you're telling this woman, they look at it like it's almost on the level of physically restraining her. You're restraining her from something. So they're equivocating where it's like physical is always one category and verbal and psychological is one. Now they're saying it's all the same thing now. That's why they're passing these laws. They're saying if you restrain her from using social media, it's like you restraining her from going to the grocery store because the social media is a kind of community type of thing. So it's like you're restraining her from
worldwide.
Yeah.
Worldwide game niggas, man. I'm telling you, man, the game niggas are winning everywhere.
Shit.
They're fucking up the game for everybody else, though. That's the so-called game that they have.
So ARC, we got to give you credit on that one. That, hey, in this new world that we're in, I'm sorry to tell you, bro, but mode 2.
You know what? Like, I can imagine ARC being on the stand. Now, what was your intentions with that woman?
Man.
And then like all of a sudden, he started talking shit about AMS on the stand and shit. Oh, that shit would be funny as fuck.
Yo, that lying to women now. See, the technology has helped us and it's hurt us, right? Because it used to be that you could tell a woman whatever, it would just be her word against yours. Like, hey, I'm gonna do this. But now, because of so much of things, our interactions start through a text message, through an online dating app. These women be having receipts, dude. Like, we're in a culture now where you can't even break up with a woman now without her going and telling everyone on fucking social media. Just a regular breakup. 10 years ago, you break up with a woman, she tell her friends, she might tell her parents why you disappeared, and it was over with. Now, no. These hoes, you break up with her, now she's on fucking social media telling everybody he was abusive, he did this.
God damn.
It's getting kind of scary out here, bro, because you can't even break up with a female now without her putting all your shit, like the case where I did in the Surviving Bottom Shelf, Brad, right? There was a case of a black chick who had been with a white Latino dude, and he was beating her ass, and she said that the cops in Philly didn't intercede, and they laughed with him. She put his picture all online, all his information online. He hadn't been convicted of anything. It was her word against his. But the point is, in this culture that we're in now, it's like, shit, they treat her word like it is a crime. Like you did convict.
Now,
It's
like,
like
here's another thing I tell people. Hey man, them Facebook text messages count as fucking sworn fucking testimony in court, man. Y'all got to stop fucking doing all that shit. That's why I don't even talk to women online, period. We will have a phone conversation that is fucking recorded. And the moment you step over to that fucking relationship shit, I'm off the motherfucking phone.
Yep.
Talk somebody else that shit.
Do you want me to read this headline before I bounce out? I found the article. I can read it to you before I get off it, man.
Yeah.
Then the audience will know it, you know, so this shit is crazy. So this was in Ontario.
Yeah, drop a link in the chat if you could for that.
Okay, yeah.
Go pick it up.
Yeah, let me.
I mean, you know, this is just gonna be the new format of my show. Just do male improvement shit and leave all that other shit the fuck alone. And just
do that. Yeah, please. Please do. Yes.
Yeah. Give y'all basic warning. I'm not going over there to check to see if you niggas are still over there. I don't give a fuck. But don't fucking come back to my channel telling me about how you want to be re-red pill and shit and like get the fuck out of here. Like, nah, man, you gotta go fucking ride the horse.
So this article comes from the Toronto Sun, September 10th, last week. Couple has
last fucking week.
Yeah, so
yep. Yep. It's real.
So this is to the people that say, "Oh, domestic partnership and cohabitation." That might have been good yesterday, but no longer. Couple has no home, kids together, but still considered spouses. Ontario's top court rules. A wealthy businessman will have to pay more than $50,000 a month in spousal support for 10 years. 10 years.
Yep.
To a woman with whom
$5 million. $5 million.
Man, a long-term romantic relationship, even though they kept separate homes and had no children together. This is from the top court in Ontario. Under Ontario law, an unmarried couple are considered common law spouses if they have cohabitated, lived together in a conjugal relationship continuously for at least 3 years. But that doesn't necessarily mean living in the same home, the court found. Lack of shared residence is not determinative of the issue of cohabitation. The appeal court, this is at the appeal court, bro. There are many cases in which courts have found cohabitation where the parties stayed together only intermittently. So that means you went over for the weekend, knocked it out once a month. That's included now under the cohabitation laws. The decision comes in the case.
Where the fuck is Slade Wilson at, man? Like, we need to be getting some fucking.
Yeah, man. Where the fuck is Slade Wilson? Where the fuck is Gogo 13? Shit, man. Goddamn.
And so where the fuck is Ray Carew? Like,
And what made her situation so interesting is that she was one of these women who, you know, these dudes would be like, go do some batting practice with one of these old bras, right? Well, guess what? This woman was 46 years old, divorced with 3 kids.
Oh my God, that sounds like some typical black.
Did you guys just hear me? These weren't even his kids. She was divorced when he got with her. So the decision comes in the case because they began a romantic relationship after meeting in October 2001. At the time, she was 38 years old and separated with 2 children, court records show. He was divorced with 3 children. So these were 2 people who were divorcees. You thinking that all of that shit's behind them. Oh, okay, we know we've been married before. We both got kids by different people. We're just gonna have this casual sexual relationship, right? The court said.
It sounds like an out-of-body experience. I'm hearing this shit. This shit is insane.
This is in the Toronto Sun, bro. This is the appeals court, not the district trial court. This is an appeal because he actually appealed.
It's like the judge looked at the decisions like, I don't know what to do here. Let me send it up to another court. And the other court was like, fuck this dude. I'm like,
I'll tell you, you know, here's the thing. You know what's crazy? The cherry on top of this shit Sunday is that originally the alimony was supposed to be lifetime. It's supposed to be life.
Yeah, this person also said. So the judge said, although they maintain separate homes, they behave. Now, remember,
major fact.
Yep.
As a couple, both privately and publicly. That could just mean that you went out on dates with her.
Twisting a knife in a nigga, man.
Oh man.
Yep.
He gave her a diamond ring and other jewelry that Now this is the sugar daddy shit right here. Now you know how these dudes say, yeah, you know, you need to get these hoes money. Well, guess what? If you give a woman money and you guys stay together for any significant amount of time, that shit can be called a spouse now. That's what the course has said. And he said,
now the word significant is gonna mean sometimes like
man. So I just wanted you guys. I'll put it in
you've
the
been
chat
warned.
read, man. But it's
man,
you gotta read this shit for yourself.
I mean, man, like, we don't need horror flicks anymore, man. We could just read this shit to niggas before they go to bed.
Man. That's what I'm saying, man. The damn right, man. It's the goddamn nightmare fuel. God.
It's important that black men, man, that we continue to have these constructive conversations because, again,
we need to. Yeah, we need to.
The men in the West, in America, you guys are gonna have to make a decision. Like, do you want your manhood back, or are you just prepared to say fuck it and let it all burn? Because again, these feminists that are getting in power, they want to turn you into like the second class citizens moving forward.
Serfs. Yep.
Trying to use black women as a buffer class now. I've noticed that too.
Yep.
With
they're like Malcolm X, he broke it down. He said the white liberal wants to turn their black peons into a pink poodle, and then it's with that pink poodle symbolism that they believe that they've accomplished something, but not knowing that you're actually the class clown and the mascot, and you are powerless.
Yep. You're
a pink poodle. So that buffer class, they're just what Malcolm was always warning you about white liberals. They will use it in a symbolic way, but they will never give you real true power. So it's going to be dudes that are going to say, well, that was Canada. Okay, you niggas are
Yep.
Oh my God, you just
so blind, deaf, and dumb.
Have me on MOT. I got to get up out of here. But yo, you brothers go read that case. And I mean, just really think about the implications. Because, again, the safe haven for so many brothers was just like me. Again, I've been a user of cohabitation because it works for me. But now they're saying, no, the days of getting in-house pussy without getting kind of financial, reparations, those days are over because, again, that most women, that's all they got to offer. So men like ourselves have been like, okay, well, this woman is free. She wants to have a casual sexual relationship with me. She wants to be a side piece and a concubine. I'm cool with that. Now, the concubines is coming from your checkbook too now. So with that, I'm out, bro. You guys all be good and have a productive week.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for scaring the shit out of us and then just leaving, King Sigma. Thanks so much, man. I'm like, it's a bomb threat. You guys, fuck you and good night. Oh shit. Yeah, man. But what all men know. Now, let me get ready to get up out of here. But dude, at the end of the fucking day, man, we could really have got to start preserving who and what the fuck we are outside of these fucking women. There ain't there ain't gonna be no other fucking entity that's gonna be able to do it for us but us. End of the day, I understand that these dudes want to see the magic of a dude talking to an actual female without her ripping his fucking head off, but you have to realize, man, the dude say, y'all motherfuckers up for some motherfucking pain.
Oh yeah, man. The pain will be real. I'm telling you. The pain will be real.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't get why people don't understand that this shit was always a gradual move that was always going into a direction that you wasn't gonna be able to fucking control, man. And everybody asserts that game is gonna be the only thing that is just window dressing for just letting this motherfucker do whatever the fuck they want to. It's shit ain't gonna work. And I'm just glad I got my shit together so that way I can just enjoy myself on the fucking road and not give a shit about anybody else. And that's it, man. I'm just saying that.
Same here. My end game is to at least have my own fleet or to be an operator. That's my end game. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that this shit ain't gonna fucking work the way that they fucking said it's going to work. And that's just where we are, man. It's sad, but this is the way you gotta fucking operate from here on out, man. Because this shit just really ain't gonna fucking work.
It is what it is. You gotta go for broke. Yep.
Yeah, and all these people who are making all these promises. King Sigma is right, man. The FTC is already looking at these motherfuckers, man. They're just waiting on some motherfucker to commit suicide after hearing this bullshit fucking advice, and they're coming after all these motherfuckers.
Exactly.
Every time you took this shit, every time you didn't label this shit, this is for entertainment purposes only, all this shit. It doesn't matter how you moderate your fucking tone. if you accepted any type of money for this fake ass advice, tell you, man, they're not gonna be playing games with you motherfuckers, especially the black ones. they're just surviving on borrowed time, man. I wish this wasn't the case, but that's just where we at with this, man. And like I said, this is how you get back into the fucking corner. Fucking around with shit that ain't got nothing to do with you, when the only thing you had to do as a human being or a person was just take care of your responsibilities and your responsibilities only. And keep it at that, and stop trying to define yourself through random access. Like I said, the story that I started with, this chick is probably one of the best looking black women I've ever seen in my life. And she was on the market lying to a guy like she was 35 years old, knowing goddamn well she's 45 or 46. Been married 4 fucking times. Every single base she went to, she got married to another motherfucker. And she still look young. So it's like,
oh, so she was monkey branching.
Oh, no, I mean, but she had a specific plan. Like
go
in the military in order to stay off base. Well, at least during like the younger like era, you sit there and you marry somebody to actually get a place off base, so that way you can get BAH and BAQ and all that kind of shit. Extra money pretty much. Y'all don't live together, but y'all get extra money to have a place together. And all they do is just get a roommate for way cheaper than that, so save all the money and shit. But yeah, I mean, she just kept doing it. It kept doing it. It kept doing it. Getting divorced whenever it's time to get ready to get the fuck off base. Get a divorce and shit, and that's just the way it is, man. It's just that you gotta be able to fucking watch yourself out here. Well, nothing's fucking guaranteed. So, what it is, what it is. So that's just what it is, man. Like, dude, as a man, you don't need that much to survive.
You really don't.
No, you don't.
You need the bare necessities, and for the most part, you really don't need that much to survive. You're right.
And it's just that stuff is being turned into something else.
Yeah,
right
exactly. Exactly. Everything's being turned into snares and traps. I mean, it's just, yeah.
And the only thing I'm saying is, we don't have a space where we could just talk about men's issues. Well, I guess I could turn this space into that. It's not about hating anybody. It's about maximizing your own freedom, so that way you're not going through these particular things in your own personal life.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's great. It's great to look at these things in an academic aspect, even though they're still fucked up. But at the end of the day, man, I don't want to go through this shit. I don't want to see nobody else go through this shit either.
Same here. I don't want to see that shit myself.
Oh, hell no, man. I ain't trying to deal with that. And it's like, people actually think game is going to get you past this shit. It's like, fuck out of here. So any last words, Line of Mixed Out, before we get up out of here?
Well, you guys know my catchphrase. Give them nothing.
Oh my God. Well, let's see who else is still here. Hold on, I'm looking at Zoom. See who else is still here. Any last words? Mr. Imp, any last words?
Yeah, I would like to say that there's this one case where this chick actually lied on this guy about blowing her pussy shut, and then she tried to get him in trouble. But the only thing that was saving his ass from actually going to prison is that the fact that it was on video. This chick lied about this dude.
Nope, no trouble whatsoever. I mean, so she got no trouble whatsoever?
No consequences? None?
No consequence?
Better Bachelor has a video on this. That's why I was gonna say. And also, Cuban Jenner has another rape assault case right now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, fuck off. Fuck off.
Yep, it is.
Yeah. Well, all right, Mr. Ace, anything else?
Then that was a very fire stream. And I definitely want to do a live stream with you on the future on
That's cool, man.
What you talk and discuss and what I've learned regarding the black pill. In an interesting way.
No, man, because the black pill is awesome, dude. You don't have to sit around and be purely bullshit about people with the fucking black pill. That's what I like about it. I can walk into a situation, I could just say, this is some fucking bullshit, and I'm out. No feelings involved, none of that other shit. I'm good. But you know, everybody else wants to throw that vaginal compromise piece in there and think that pixie dust and damn, I was fucking no. That's shit you wanted to do because you dumb as fuck, and can nobody really say your ass if you do that shit. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's maybe I just need to do like a separate stream on the black pill. So that way people can understand like what it is to me and how I became black pill and all that kind of stuff, because a lot of people don't understand how truth can save your ass a lot of problems from all these deliberately dishonest fucking situations that are going to be punished one way. And a lot of these people just don't understand that.
I'm looking forward to it, especially. And if you are going to do one, I will definitely be checking on notifications, as I want to give in my 2 cents on the matter too.
Yeah, because as this time go on, it's gonna be harder and harder for dudes to keep continuing to have their shit together, you know, and it's really bad for people. They don't understand. Like I said, I'm in Portland, and that was just one industrial area I was at, and I seen like 28 RVs on the side of the fucking road. I've never seen no shit like that, and you know, I've never been in this part of Portland, but like it was getting pretty bad in other areas of Portland. That shit's happening in Denver too. So people are gonna be saying any fucking thing to try to get the fuck off the market and try to walk, you know, 2 feet from fucking towards first base and then slide home like they hit a home run. I'm just trying to stop y'all from seeing that type of goofy shit go on, man.
Yep.
All right, man. So I'm man tomorrow. Share, like, and comment if you have been here before or have not been here before. Do that. You guys have a really nice day. I'll see y'all on the next one.
Yeah. Peace out, fam. All right.
All right. Like.
Best wishes, everybody.